and these guys are the best from around the UK and from around Europe. We're just going to walk through the pits and grab an interview with some of the guys, see how they're feeling. First up on our list, I think we'll have a chat with Matt Denham. Got a new drive with Jap Speed this year. Hopefully he's car reliable, he stays together and he does a good season. Matt, we get a quick word. We know Matt's not around. How's Matt's car doing? You're now looking after it.
My Denham's, yeah?
Yep.
We've got too many Matts on this team.
There's too many Matts. New Jap Speed driver. Yep. This guy's phenomenal behind the wheel. Are you happy to have him on your team?
Massively, yeah. He's a great driver, really nice guy, super consistent, and he's going to bring a whole new element to the team. Hopefully give us constructors with all three on form.
Perfect. We'll just grab a quick word with Matt.
Yeah,
Thank you. So Matt Denham just returned, the politest man in UK drifting. Matt, congratulations on your drive in Jap Speed. Max's tyres taking you on board, unbelievable. Will the car hold together for this season to finally do you proud and get you on that podium?
I really hope so. We've done a lot of improvements over the winter. It is untested, but we're testing it today and no problem so far. So fingers crossed for the rest of the year. I need a bit of luck because I retired every round last year, so no retirements unless I get knocked out.
Perfect. Good luck, dude.
Thank you very much.
No worries, man.
See you in a bit.
Untested. This is exactly how it's going. You know, these guys are putting everything on the line. No time to get their cars ready, so they're just coming out with exactly what they have and just seeing how it goes. Adam Simmons, another guy we know, had limited testing, jumped across the ferry the other week in Ireland to go get his car mapped at WCP. Adam Simmons. How's the car going, dude?
Car rips. It's like, just
Yeah.
6 months out at sea, just getting used to it, you know what I mean?
You look happy, you look excited, so I'm guessing things are going well in the slide.
Yeah, loving it, being back in seat, out on track, perfect.
Good. And competition out there, a lot of European guys coming over to try and steal this crown that England have just took back. You're going to try and do everything you can to defend this?
I've been doing my hardest, trying everything I can, pushing 100%, that's what we're here for.
Exactly, good luck, dude.
Yeah.
So there you go, guys are travelling everywhere they can for parts, getting cars tuned at the last minute to put on the show, you know. A lot of dedication going into this right now. We're just going to head through the pit, see who we can catch up with. A lot of guys heading out on circuit. We go. Quick, another Jap Speed driver, Paul Smith. Paul, you're used to the car now. You've had a whole season in it. You finished off last year in a good place. How do you feel coming into 2018?
Yeah, really confident. Like I say, final last year, second place. Looking to go one step further this time.
One step further. Does that mean you want to try and take Matt Carter's crown?
Yeah, no problem.
No problem, says teammate Jap. Good luck, Paul. We're looking forward to seeing you later. There we go. Even team rivalries, you know. Paul Smith looking to take Matt Carter's crown for the 2018 championship. Things are getting heated. We're going to try and move it along, catch up with some more drivers. Head down to Christian Christensen. This guy coming all the way over from Denmark. And you know what? Some would say he's actually fitted a Mazda MX-5 around the LS Turbo that he has under the bonnet. This car is unbelievable. The amount of smoke it makes, huge horsepower. We just go a quick word with him, see how he's feeling. Christian, welcome to the British Drift Championship. You're looking absolutely on form out there. It looks like you've been a seasoned pro in this championship for 10 years now. You've scared a lot of our UK guys with this insane MX-5. How do you feel?
It feels okay. It's a little rough with the new track, but I think we'll get it sooner today.
So you're gunning for this championship. You're going to do a full season with us, guys?
Full season, yeah.
Wow, good luck, dude. We look forward to seeing you in action later on.
Thank you.
So there you go. You know, guys travelling all the way from Denmark to come and take our crown. This is how serious things have got. This isn't just a championship now for guys in the UK. This is reaching out, and this is exactly where we want it to be. We're going to head over to the gridding area now, try and catch up with some of the guys and see how they're feeling. So 10 years in the making, and as we head over here we can see the best of the best from all around the UK and all around Europe. We're just going to try and grab a quick word with Matt Carter before he heads out on track, our 2017 champion. Matt Carter, 2017 champion. Your name, your back, sorry, has got a target on it right now. Everybody in the paddock, all these Europeans, all want to take your crown. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Car's feeling good. We just had a broken drive shaft, so we're hoping not to do that again. But yeah, apart from that, feeling good, feeling pumped.
Your teammate, Paul Smith, just told me that he's not scared to try and take your championship away. Is there a little bit of team rivalry, especially with Matt Denham now joining your team?
Oh, there's always team rivalry. No, we're all cool. Anyone can have the championship, I don't mind.
Good luck, dude. We look forward to catching you later on. So there you go, team rivalries building. Matt Carter not having the easiest start to the championship. Already car problems at round one. We're going to grab a word with a brand new build for 2018. And that's your former champion, Mike Marshall. Mike Marshall now piloting a BMW 1 Series N54. Mike Marshall, this is not your average car on the grid. You take a look around, there's BMWs, S13s, and you're in this absolutely immaculately prepared 1 Series. Dude, how did you get to this spot right now with this car?
I always wanted a 1 Series, so basically it made my dream come true, innit?
Ex-champion, do you think you've got it in you again to take that crown and do what Matt Carter done and take it twice?
I'd like to, but I'm getting old, so I've probably lost it.
There's a lot of stiff competition as well. How do you feel about the guys coming over from Europe and UAE to try and take us down?
It's really good because it's obviously going to push the sport as well and try and bring a lot more competitors, I suppose, as if you say, and push us a lot harder. So yeah, I think it's really good.
Perfect. Good luck, dude. So there you go. So there you go. Guys actually liking the fact that these Europeans are coming over to not take our crown necessarily, but push us further than they've ever pushed us before. A man that we thought we'd lost in UK drifting is back. Simon Perry, you're back.
I'm loving it, loving it.
New sponsor, new tyres. Look at you, you look absolutely buzzing. How you feeling, dude?
I'm buzzing, yeah. I'm over the moon. The car's transformed with these tyres on. I've got the grip where I need it. I've got the speed where I need it, I feel. Time will tell. Car feels good. New sponsors, RJB. Can't thank them enough.
We're happy to see you back. We love your driving style. We love your aggression.
I've tagged it.
You've tagged it already. Listen, dude, all the best, and we look forward to seeing you qualifying. We're going to keep walking down the pits. Adam Simmons in this immaculately prepared R32 Skyline. Adam, you popped across the water the other weekend to get the car tuned. Has it made that much of a difference?
Unbelievable. The night and day difference compared to tuning it had on it before. Car's absolutely ripping, like, just me now, it's all on me. Car's perfect.
It's all on you. And how do you feel? Do you feel like you've got it in you to go against these guys?
Yeah, of course. We wouldn't be here if not, would we?
Super confident. That's what we like to see. Good luck, Adam. So these guys, you know, they're not scared anymore. They know the competition's here and they're willing to bring the fight. It's exactly what we want to see. And you know what? Another guy that's looking like he should have been in this pro class from day one is Martin Wonnacott. Martin.
Hi guys.
Coming up from Pro-Am into Pro, we watched a couple of your practice runs a minute ago and it looks like you've been in the pro class for years. You don't look out of place at all. How's it going?
Oh, it's going really well. The feeling when you're out here is totally different, and I think it drags you up as well anyway, because you sort of know you got to do it. But I've been doing an awful lot of learning slightly new skills to try and control this beast over the winter, and it's really helping, like, you know. So yeah, it feels good at the moment, really good.
Good. We're good to see you in the pro class. We look forward to seeing you later on.
Guys.
We'll just quickly grab a word with Martin Richards. Martin Richards, a reworked Driftworks R32 for this season.
Yeah.
You look confident. You're always super confident behind the wheel. You've got European experience under your belt as well. How do you feel going into this season against an unbelievable grid of drivers?
Yeah, first of all, like, looking at today, like, the grid of drivers is stepped up their game considerably. We've reworked the Driftworks R32 here. We've made some updated changes, hopefully, to bring it up to the level that all the other cars are at now. Not quite done everything we wanted to do in the time scale, but, you know, we're here testing a few little niggles like everybody else. But I think by qualifying, we'll have them all ironed out and we'll be going for gold.
Good luck, dude.
Cheers.
So there you go, you know, people not necessarily got their cars dialed just of yet, but not scared to put it all on the line. We're going to have a word with VP Racing Fuel sponsored driver Oliver Evans. Now this guy, bit of controversy in the past. Ollie, this time last year you was a Pro-Am driver. You absolutely stormed the Pro-Am class. You ended up in the Pro Day taking names. You're now a big name in the Pro class with some serious beef on your shoulders with guys like, well, the Irish. I won't mention names.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How's it looking?
Well, I've just driven this. This is the first time I've driven this car now, and like after it being sorted out, I put this. I'm running the VP fuels in it now, and had it remapped, and it's just like I can't explain how fast it is. Like it's just like I've just went out there. Then I've never really put it in fourth gear before. I put it in fourth gear, then I've just like blown my mind. Yeah, I'm like shaking. Like so. Yeah, it's just I can't understand why I've been using the car how it was, and now that I've actually sorted a few things out on the car, you know, with a bit of help for a few of my sponsors and stuff, you know, it's just like, yeah, this has changed now. Like, you know, like I felt like as if I was struggling a bit before, but now these Irish boys need to start trying to chase me.
Listen, we watched you put in some serious chase runs earlier in practice, and it's only practice, and you was door to door with some of these guys. Are you looking to take names today?
Yeah, but like, you know, like freshly wrapped car and everything, I don't really care. You know, it's like I don't really want to scratch the doors, but I think, yeah, I think it's not going to look like this by the end of the day. I don't think. I just hope people don't slow down. If they slow down, they're in serious trouble. Like.
So there you go, Oliver Evans. Good luck, dude. You know, these guys willing to put everything on the line, their cars, and everybody's stepping up their game. So that's it from me. These guys are pumped. I'm pumped. So we're going to head back to the tower. It's all back to the action.
Making sure that the slaves wouldn't run away and benefiting from...
No, Josh, I'm busy. Whatever you want to know. I'm watching politics and wrestling videos on YouTube. I'm busy.
We really need a favour to help us out with a presenting job.
That means why? Because I'm a fantastic presenter, and all of a sudden you want to use me for your services. It's not going to happen. Go away. I don't care if you've been like that. We should do your job better. I don't know. What? We've been friends for 10 years. I don't know you anything. I'm not doing it.
Oh, come on.
What you paying me? What's in it for me?
I've got a tenner.
£10 for a day's filming?
And a Mackey's.
You must be joking. Fine. Give me the script. And I want those glasses as well. Go away. Go away. Josh, this is like a page long. I'm not learning this. So, what do you want me to like introduce myself first?
No, don't say name.
How's anyone going to know who I am?
Don't introduce yourself. Just go with the script.
Well, can we have like...
No.
Listen. Put in a box with my name on it. How about that? That's compromise. In 2018, the British Drift Championship celebrates its 10th year as the UK's most premier and elite drift organisation. In that time, the sport of competitive drifting has evolved massively and now stands as one of the most professionally organised, entertainment-based motorsports available to the general public. This season, Josh, I feel it's hard here for me to... I don't know what this silly child go-kart club sport thing is that you want me to...
Before we started.
Yeah, I know, but I wasn't really paying attention, was I?
Watch this.
Right, watch this. What, this is it? This is what you do?
This is it.
Right, this is drifting. Drifting is a high-skilled,
What are you doing? You can't film in here. You switch the camera.
All right, calm down. We're customers. I just paid £2.10 for this coffee, which is extortionate, by the way. Which is extortionate, by the way. And I come along, and now you're kicking me out, so we're just filming.
I'm not kicking you out. You can finish your drink. I'm just
well, I will finish. Don't look down the camera either. It's my job to look down the camera. Don't look at his camera. Drifting is a high-skill, high-power, extreme motorsport, which the driver uses throttle, brakes, clutch, gear shifting, and steering input to manoeuvre the car into a state of oversteer while going from turn to turn. It takes place on compact, spectator-focused layouts where the drivers are judged on their precision, speed, and style rather than who finishes the course the fastest. Drifting takes all the thrilling moments and challenges from a traditional motorsports and combines them into a non-stop, action-packed competition where the drivers go head-to-head for one winner. It is incredibly difficult to master, extremely dangerous, and only rewards the most naturally skilled of drivers. All right, well, all right, geez, all right. Come on. Okay, all right. Josh, Josh! He was a bit of a dick, wasn't he, in the cafe? I mean, £2.10 for a coffee. Anyway, what, I'm watching the video. I don't, do you know what I mean? To you, in your world of, driving around with
Nathan, you asked what drifting was, and I want to show you what.
No, I didn't ask what you said you need to know for the video. I already know everything there is to know about driving. Wheels, tyres, do you know what I mean? Gears, I get it all. Mine's got 6-speed gears. It's an M Sport. So, you want to be a part of the movement and check out the insane drift events for yourself? Well, here's what's going down this year at the BDC. We kick off the most anticipated year of the BDC, at a venue which broke viewership and attendance records in 2017, the Rockingham Motor Speedway. A custom circuit with numerous concrete walls, the ideal location for some of the UK's most insane drivers. What more could a fan ask for? Something special happened here last season, and we don't want you to miss the chance to witness something special happening again this season. Get ready for the concrete rumble in the jungle on March the 31st and April the 1st. It's actually pretty impressive, some of this. They don't half go fast. I've never seen anything like it. Is it like wrestling? They have wrestling names. Should do. You'd call me the Wild Whippet. You get that? The Wild Whippet. You're whipping around them corners. Oh, that's the Wild Whippet. Yeah, you get it? Because it's car references. The BDC began its incredible journey 10 years ago, which has drastically changed the landscape of competitive drifting in the UK. This season we honour that heritage by returning to where it all began, the Teesside Autodrome. With a vastly improved event structure, a competition that showcases the unrivaled passion and determination within the growing UK drift community. So, will you be there to celebrate with us? Why wouldn't you be? Just how much has changed in 10 years of drifting? Quite a lot, I'd say. But there's only one way to find out. Join us on June the 2nd and June the 3rd. Who's the, I know him. Why is the Boyzone guys on this?
Yeah, he's one of the drivers of the championship.
Shane Lynch?
Yeah.
From Boyzone?
Yeah.
You know I know him, don't you?
You do?
Yeah, I met him. I did an interview with him a couple of years ago. Yes, I did an interview with him a couple of years ago.
What did you do the interview about?
You know what? This makes sense now. Because all he wanted to talk about was cars and stuff, and that will have probably been to do with this. I weren't paying attention at the time. But yeah, we had a right old chat about cars. Petrol or diesel, which one works for you?
Petrol. Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a petrol head.
Yeah, I got like a right house. He actually thought, I remember him saying, what did he say about me now?
Most people probably tell you you're a dick.
Well, no, I feel like, well, I'm not a dick. I've got Shane. Yeah, it's funny because I asked him a load of car questions. Do you want to talk about cars? Which makes sense now because I know he's into this silly ride around car park game thing that you guys are doing. No season would be complete without visiting the mecca of UK drifting, Driftland. This purpose-built drift circuit takes no prisoners and creates an atmosphere like no other venue. Every British Drift Championship event in Scotland has been an incredible spectacle, so expect more memorable moments and heart-stopping action when the BDC grid go to war once again. Time to take the fight north on July the 14th and the 15th. And this lad's 13, doing stuff like that. How is that even legal? It's crazy. I'll lift here, get out of the way. That's mental. Do you want to see this video, this 13-year-old in this car park? The championship fight heats up at the new resurfaced and renovated Three Sisters race circuit in September. The most technical layout on the calendar will prove a great equaliser of horsepower and grip. So this is anyone's for the taking. The BDC will also utilise the most unique drift layout at the Wigan circuit, meaning drivers will be heading into the unknown at the penultimate round of the series. So it's time to find out who really is the best driver. Things are certainly going to be shaken up on the 15th and the 16th of September.
Nathan, just stop that.
What?
Just watch.
Well, what window's for if not for going up and down?
Just watch the video I gave you.
All right, fine. Just don't be such a dick. I know what driving is. I've been doing it for 11 years, 9 of them with no claims. As lame as it is, it's pretty cool. Like, I can't actually believe how fast some of these goes. It looks like it's fast forwarded, but I know speed. I've done a lot on speed, not, and that's it's pretty cool. I don't know how this has eluded me for my whole life. I've never heard of this, and I've been go-karting loads of times. I've never heard of this kind of racing before. 5 countries, 2 championships, 1 event, and 1 winner. The BDC and the IDC will clash heads at the Rockingham Motor Speedway with the pride of each nation on the line. The BDC are going to have to overcome the skills and the challenge of their bitter overseas rivals, the IDC, for their chance to take home the championship prize fund of £20,000. Could the finale of the Drift Series get any more intense than this? We think not. This is the moment the Irish and the British fans have been waiting for. Which nation will survive the invasion? Be there to support yours and find out. You got fuel money? Because I can't take it back with no money in. And my mum's gonna literally go mental, and I ain't got no money.
You spent all last night when you were out.
I ain't spent no money. You got £4 I have to put in the car. Don't be so selfish. Can I go home yet?
No.
Well, why? You won't let me be in the championship, which I'd probably come in top 3. So when?
Because we're not done the video yet.
When are we going to do the video then?
When we're done.
All right.
Hours.
Well, I need to go home, Josh, if I'm honest with you.
Why?
Because I told my mum I'd be back, and I don't like to let my mum down. So when do we finish?
We've still got a few more hours to go.
Well, let's film it there then.
What, your mum's?
Yeah.
About us?
We're just in the we're just filming the kitchen.
In the kitchen?
Yeah. So, the most exciting form of motorsport, the most insane layouts, the most insane drivers, and big cash prizes. What more could you ask for? Honestly, I'm pretty convinced. Stay tuned for all ticket information regarding all the events.
Happy now?
Yeah, you got pickles on him, which is another mess up on you, but apart from that, it's a pretty damn good day, don't you say? You can get me in for another one.
No, right with that.
Yeah, good day. Hey, have you got that tenner?
So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 1 of the British Drift Championship 2018. We are here live at Rockingham Motor Speedway. I'm Ian Waddington, and as always, I'm joined by Eddie Power in the tower. We are ready to get action underway for our pros qualifying. Eddie, we've seen an absolutely amazing practice session so far. A few ups and downs, but we'll get into that later on. These guys looking super, super strong.
Yeah, they've been looking really confident out on track. The track conditions are perfect this morning, nice and dry, and we've seen lots of smoke, a lot of exciting chase battles, and this track is just like it was last year. It leads itself to really close battles, close driving, door to door on stuff, and it's going to be immense. But we have a small matter of just finishing up where we left off yesterday afternoon. Unfortunately, because of the weather conditions yesterday, we had to postpone our final few battles in the Pro-Am section of the competition. They are going to be taking place before Pro qualifying this morning.
Yeah, so before we get into that Pro-Am final, we're just going to break down what our judges are looking for their qualifying criteria. Obviously, our judges, as always, head judge Dave Egan, we have Kieran Hines and Ryan Pothecary. We're going to head over now to Dave Egan. He's going to break it down for you for what those judges are looking for as we head into qualifying. Dave.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, very, very interesting track laid out here for us this weekend. And from my perspective, it's a tricky one. It's a tough one. It's going to be one of those challenging tracks. We had a variant on the layout from last year. It's made it a lot more tricky. We've watched a lot of guys struggle yesterday with the new line that's out there. So we're going to talk you through it. We're going to basically say what's going to score that perfect 100 run in qualifying. And of course, we will have the Pro-Am finals just before we go to Pro qualifying. So we're going to kind of give you an outside, if you're tuning in for the first time this weekend, exactly what's happening and exactly how they're going to score, heavy in those qualifying sessions. So the track is essentially a custom-built track by Kieran Hines. Essentially, it is based on perfect circles. So essentially, most of the track is ideal for a drift car to be able to you know, get that perfect line. If you're on that outside line the whole way around the track, you're going to be basically hooking it up pretty good. So we're going to have a look at the track display here. As you can see, the start line, we're not using a chicane start line, call made just on. It's a very short run in here, so it's a little bit different than some of the longer tracks where we would have to use a chicane. So it's a short run in here. Everyone's going to take a straight gun start from the start line. Max is going to let them go. Then it's got something different this year, which you can see on the outside of the track is those yellow cones. Now they go 3, 2, and 1. And that's essentially a reference for us to how early the driver is initiating. If they're initiating very early and can carry good speed and angle, that's going to get them some more points. And that initiation zone brings them into clip 1, which is on the outside of the track on the first corner. Keep the throttle down, stay on that outside line as you go through clip 2. And if you stay on that outside line and keep your wheels on that outer edge, it's going to bring you right to that first wall clip at clip 3. Not that dangerous if you're on the right line. If you dive across that corner, it gets a lot more precarious. Then it's all about the transition from 3 to 4, and this is where most drivers seem to make the mistake on this track. You've got to leave that transition late so that you can get out to the wall clip on clip 4. Get that line wrong, and you're going to be in trouble all the way on the outer line from 4 to 5. And as you get past clip 5, this is where it gets interesting. The drivers are going to have to decelerate because that corner tightens up massively. And it goes on to a wall at clip 6. So essentially, they've got to lose a lot of speed. And it's the only slowing zone on the track we're allowing. So guys will have to adapt to that in the chase position as you see things move along through the day. Then it's a snappy transition from 6 to 7, getting the car right out wide to clip 7, which sets you up perfectly for the final clip on clip 8 at the wall. Full throttle across the line. And as they go across the clip 8, that essentially is the finish of the track or the end of the scoring zone, and they're finished their run. Now, each driver, of course, will get 2 runs out of 100, and we'll be scoring them based on a criteria that's different for this year. So we've got 60 for line, 20 for style, and 20 for angle, and that's exactly what we're judging it on. Then, of course, you guys at home and here on the big screen will be able to see exactly what scores we've dropped in. But, of course, guys, we'll have a quick look at the virtual, because obviously explaining it is one thing, but now you can see that perfect run. Which has been created to show you guys exactly what that perfect run is in virtual. So it's a lot harder in the real world, but in virtual, you can see it here. Flick entry will score a little bit higher here, a clutch kick or weight transfer, but handbrake is okay. And then as you can see, it's about right in that outer line. And as you stay on that outer line, the walls don't surprise you. They're actually quite safe. Get off that line, it can get a little bit more precarious. This is the biggest pull of the track here as they go on full throttle right out to those outer clipping zones. And then as you can see, slowing the car down here to just get a snappy angle transition to get onto that end of the wall for that last clip. Then another transition, and then it's full throttle to the last 2 clipping zones and across the line. Now, it's a tricky track. We don't expect everyone to nail it first time, but after practice, guys have been going very, very good, especially in the dry today. Conditions a little bit more difficult. So we're going to be pretty harsh on the scoring today to make sure that these guys are up to speed and basically putting it all on the line, which is exactly what we want to see. Other than that, Ian, as I said, we are moving to our Pro-Am finals from yesterday. So we're going to start with some battle action. Some Pro-Am action to get back into the mix with yesterday. We ran over curfew with some noise regulations yesterday. So, you know, for you guys who've come on the Sunday, you get to see the best of yesterday now as the finals will take place. Finish the podium, and we're straight into pro qualifying. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Dave. And of course, Ian, just to update all you guys who are watching at home or in attendance here, 4 drivers remaining in that Pro-Am competition. Lee Scott already a place in the final. He overcame Alistair Sutton, who now will battle it for a 3rd place podium finish. He will be either coming up against Dan Tyler or Christians Burkhoffs, as they will battle now to see who will take a position in the final and who will battle for 3rd and 4th place.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to get that battle underway, get our 2 finalists, get our 3rd and 4th place on the line, and we are ready to go. But first, I think we're going to cut to our brand new presenter, Nathan Black, and he's joined today by special guest, Ben Manuel.
Wow. Biscuit. We're trying again. Microphone still doesn't appear to be on. I'm getting the cutthroat signal. Apparently, I'm just going to stand here in an awkward moment of silence. Oh, I'm being laughed at by the audience. We'll wait. Oh, and there we are live. Excited to be back here for another thrilling day at the BDC, the first round of the pro circuit. And I must have done something wrong yesterday because I've apparently been given a co-host, which is my good friend here, Ben. He's going to say a few words that aren't as interesting as mine. Think of me as Batman and him as Robin. Over to you, Dick.
Dick? Richard? So I've been brought in to help as a technical expert due to his non-expertise. Back to you.
Thanks, guys. That looks like a relationship in the making there, Eddie. It's not set in concrete just yet.
Yeah, they don't really quite have the bond that you and me have.
They don't have the bond, do they? So we're ready for action here at round 1 of the British Championship. We're going to get that Pro-Am battle underway. So the first battle you are going to see is going to be for a place in the final. It is going to be Dan Tyler to take on Christian Burkhoffs. Those guys should be on the line. So we sent them guys out in practice earlier because obviously changing weather conditions, it was damp yesterday. We wanted to give them the fair playing ground, so we sent all those 4 Pro-Am drivers out. Rightly so as well, because they've now earned that opportunity to qualify in the pro grid. So we sent them out this morning in practice. Those guys have had a ton of seat time, so they're fired up, ready to go. And you know what, for me, Burkhoff's still, Eddie, like I said yesterday, still looking strong, and a guy that could contend the pro class today.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him just move into the chase position against Lee Scott in one of their practice runs and really look to be bullying him around the circuit. Will we see him go through here? Because you know what, if he wants to win, he has to go through Dan Tyler. Dan Tyler looking very confident as well. He was out on track as well this morning and putting in some really solid runs. So they are on the line. It will be Burkhoffs to lead them in, Tyler to give chase, a place in the final of the Pro-Am up for grabs here. And then, of course, they will be back out on track for pro qualifying. So a very action-packed morning for these Pro-Ams and a lot at stake here already quite early on Sunday morning.
So just getting a shot of those guys. They are off the line. It will be, like you say, Eddie, Burkhoffs to lead in Dan Tyler. Dan Tyler looking on form yesterday. And look at this, Dan Tyler making a big dive on initiation, but Burkhoffs keeps in it, Eddie. Dan Tyler not scared of the Latvian at all.
No, certainly not, but Burkhoffs on a really wide line here. Can he take it out to the wall? He certainly can. But Dan Tyler staying right there with him, almost disappearing in that cloud of smoke that Burkhoff is firing his way. Look at this as they transition back. Dan Tyler all over the door of Burkhoffs, who takes it to the wall. And as they cross the line, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dan Tyler and Christian Burkhoffs. So we switch them around. Burkhoffs now will give chase as Dan Tyler will look to put in that perfect qualifying run and hope that he can pull a gap. But based on that first run, not a whole lot in it really, Ian.
No, not a lot in it at all. And you know what, for me, it was just a little bit of the power from Burkhoffs that was allowing him to pull the big angle and, try and drive away from it. But you know what, Dan Tyler, proving that power is not everything. A few little mistakes for me. Dan Tyler carrying a very shallow angle, cut a little bit of the circuit through clipping point 5 in towards 6. So we'll see how this one plays out, but he is now in that lead position. Can Burkhoffs drive slow behind that car? We know that Burkhoffs runs a lot of grip, a lot of power. They're off the line. We're about to find out who's going to take the last place in the final battle of the weekend. Tyler to initiate, and look at Burkhoffs right there. Dan Tyler very, very shallow, Eddie. Very shallow line through clipping point 2. Burkhoffs all the way to the wall as they transition in front of the grandstand, but Burkhoffs straightens massively as Dan Tyler now throws his car all the way to the wall.
Yeah, Burkhoffs has decided to take the wider line, which should help him to avoid being overly close to and having to slow significantly behind Dan Tyler, but starting to make a few errors. Dan Tyler doing a good job keeping that car nice and wide. Again, as we mentioned, Ian, quite underpowered, so a real uphill challenge for him, especially now in the dry conditions. Had this battle been yesterday, even on a wet track, we might have seen something different.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got those guys to the line. I'm going to wait for the judges to drop in their score.
Yeah, and already you can see the amount of smoke that's being created. It takes quite a bit of time for that to clear off the circuit. Very light wind here this morning in Rockingham, and that will be a real feature later on in the battles, as drivers will have to struggle in the chase position to try and see exactly where it is they're going.
Exactly.
So, judges' scores are coming in. Left for Tyler, right for Burkhoffs. Kieran, David and Ryan, a unanimous decision. Christian Burkhoffs has taken it to the final, where he will go up against Lee Scott. Dan Tyler takes it to the 3rd and 4th place playoff. He will be coming up against Alistair Sutton almost immediately. He will be allowed time just to change tyres and add some fuel. But we go over to the judges to talk us through their decision on that one.
Yeah, that one all just came down to angle, Eddie. Both guys had a pretty good line through both runs and proximity through both runs, but Tyler just no angle whatsoever on either run, and it came down to that. I mean, it's quite easy if you're on very shallow angle to get around this track. Burkhoffs actually exceeded his angle in the chase position, so over the 2, the angle was what won out, and he goes to the final.
So there you go. Dan Tyler just struggling with a little bit, a lack of power. Eddie, he can't carry the big angle without the power. It's going to slow him down too much and just go in there. So we're going to get those guys turned around and back to the line. It will be Alistair Sutton to take on Dan Tyler for the final step on the podium of the weekend. And ironically, both these guys coming from the same background. Both these guys competing at King of the Ring in Essex, doing very, very well. Alistair Sutton being 2016 champion, Dan Tyler being the 2017 champion. So these guys are going head to head here. Both guys come through Drift Cup, the feeder series for BDC, and doing very, very well. So
yeah, now both drivers looking to make a name for themselves at the Pro-Am stage, and of course they will be back out momentarily as well for the Pro competition. So a lot of bragging rights up for grabs here, and a lot of experience to be gained here for these guys this weekend. Dan Tyler, you have to feel now, may have the edge here as he comes back to the line, having just taken, just completed a competition battle. He might be, just in the zone a little bit more, focused. Alistair Sutton now, he's only been in practice mode this morning. It's a big ask for him to come straight to the line and, just get right back into it.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? You can't underestimate these guys. These guys go hard, and this is going to be a good battle. They're very good friends. They know how each other drive. They drive together quite a lot. They're ready to go. Judges are ready to go. They've got the thumbs up on the start line. It is Dan Tyler to lead out Alistair Sutton for the final step on the podium. These guys are going to go hard. And look at this, Alistair Sutton bringing the fight already. Oh, and a little waiver on initiation from Sutton. Drops way offline now. Starts to lose angle to gain proximity. Dan Tyler looking nice and fluid there as he transitions in front of the grandstand. Yes. Dan Tyler taking it to the wall, Eddie.
Yeah, but Sutton looking quite straight on transition there, carrying not too much angle, and yeah, Dan Tyler really in the zone here at the moment now, and looking as though he is far more comfortable out on the circuit and really feeling the benefit of those extra couple of laps.
Yeah, like you say, Eddie, just, a lack of angle, and we know it's hard in these underpowered cars to carry big angle. But for me, Alistair Sutton completely missed clipping 0.5 as they come round that big turn, headed towards clip 5.5 of the wall run on 6. Cut the course, not what the judges wanted to see, that's gaining an unfair advantage to try and gain proximity. So we swapped them around now. It will be Alistair Sutton to lead out Dan Tyler. Not sure how this one could go, Eddie. We could swing in the balance anyway now if Dan Tyler makes too many mistakes.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of this is going to come down to Sutton's line. He needs to put in a big lead run here and hope that Tyler, you can have a similar enough chase run to what he just did, or just try and force some errors from that lead position, which can be quite difficult. This one certainly does hang in the balance though, as they start to initiate into that first corner. Again, yeah, look, Tyler really shallow, and Alistair Sutton taking it out to a nice wide line. Can he bring it out down onto the wall as he starts to pull a gap over Dan Tyler?
Yeah, Dan Tyler making a whole host of mistakes there. He starts to make the dive, Eddie, as they come into clipping point 6. Alistair Sutton on a good line now, transitions back. Dan Tyler right with him as Dan Tyler now tries to finish this off as they go door to door across the line. Funk Motorsport Grandstand, give him a round of applause as they park up there.
Yeah, and I think that little bit of proximity that Tyler had over the finish line could be the difference here, but it seemed over both runs that there was just too many errors on both drivers. They'd be good in one section and poor in another.
So Eddie, a little change in the format. Normally we don't tell you the winner of the 3rd and 4th place, but now we're going to bring it up the graphic on the screen. So we're going to see who is the winner of that 3rd and 4th place battle before we head into our final. The judges' scores are in. Left for Sutton, right for Tyler. Who's going to take the last step on the podium? Kieran, David, Ryan. It's unanimous. Alistair Sutton gets the win. Alistair Sutton gets the win, and it's your 3rd place finisher here of round 1 Pro-Am. Brilliant result, Eddie. We go to the judges.
Yeah, another one sort of same tale as the first one. Tyler, just no angle. He's almost straight at certain parts of the track. He is on the correct line, which is great, but you still have to be drifting on the correct line, and he's barely on any angle. Sutton, as I said, does a good job across the whole track, and Tyler has a big wobble on the first run at the end of the tour. So over the 2, more mistakes from Tyler. Sutton a little bit stronger. Not perfect, but definitely enough to take 3rd step on the podium.
So there you go, Sutton taking that last step on the podium and looking strong going on to this afternoon's competition. He's going to be feeling very, very confident. So we're just waiting to get Lee Scott and Christians Burkhoffs to the line for their final battle of this Pro-Am Championship.
Yeah, and a lot up for grabs for these two guys. I mean, you're talking about taking the top step on the podium, but you're also talking about taking maximum championship points away from round 1. No better way to start your season. As you can see Lee Scott making his way to this line. damaging the car in his first practice run this morning, breaking a drive shaft, and the guys in the pit crew got that car back out. He did a few more laps, chose not to do too many, didn't want to risk damaging the car again. As you see, he gives the thumbs up, and this guy struggling for grip towards the end of the round yesterday due to the wet weather conditions, but with dry weather conditions he's going to feel very, very comfortable out on track. But in the back of his mind will be the chase run that Christian Burkhoffs gave him in practice this morning, glued to the door all the way around. And you know what? Those little bit of mind games make a big difference when it comes to competition. Ian.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Lee Scott is going to be wanting to gun in for that top step on the podium. He qualified first yesterday, so he took away maximum qualifying points for that day. He's going to want to win today so that he takes away maximum points again, and he starts his championship off in the best way possible, and so confidently going into the rest of the season with all those points, in your bag. So not sure how that's going to play out. Christian Burkhoffs, like we said, and for me, he was the guy all day. I watched him in practice. He battled all the way through, and here he is in the final. I don't think he's a guy to be uncontested. He's very, very talented. He's got an unbelievably well-built car, and those guys have travelled all the way, from Latvia. They're not messing about it.
Yeah,
they've come to win.
They're not here just to have a little bit of fun. They're here to take this seriously. It means a lot to them. They came because of the level of competition that is here in the British Drift Championship. And I think what's important here as well is that while we will see one of these guys take home, maximum points in the top step in the podium, both these guys are going to be going straight into the pro competition, and they have the cars that maybe Sutton and Tyler don't have to compete with the pro guys. And there's going to be a lot of pro drivers a little bit worried in the paddock, if they were to come up against these two in battles.
Yeah, exactly. So we are just waiting to get those guys to the line. We have Lee Scott. We're just waiting for Christian Burkhoffs to get his car. He's coming through the pits now. I've just been given the thumbs up, Eddie, so he's making his way to the start line now. So, yeah, you know what? There's nothing better. There's going to be no better feeling for the winner of this battle, to go into today's competition with a win. You battled all day hard yesterday. You qualified well. You win the event, and then you come into the first qualifying session with a win. You're going to feel super confident. But who's going to take it? We're yet to find out. It will be Lee Scott to lead in Christian Burkhoffs for the final battle of Pro-Am.
Yes, so your first place qualifier versus your third place qualifier in yesterday's Pro-Am to take it to the top step of the podium. Who's it going to be, Scott or Burkhoffs? They throw it into the first corner. Scott dropping a wheel, but very nice wide line as Burkhoffs matches him. Burkhoffs now throws it onto the door as they transition back and throw it to the wall in.
Yeah, look at Lee Scott. Lee Scott absolutely laying down the lead run of his life right now, but Burkhoffs throws on big angle. Completely cuts the circuit there as he comes into clean point 6. Burkhoffs now going to have to really work hard to rectify that mistake. He's door-to-door pushing Lee Scott across the line. Funk Motorsport Grandstand, give him a round of applause.
Yes, very similar run. It was almost a mirror of the practice run. And again, that slowing section of the track, it was almost like it shouldn't have caught Burkhoffs by surprise, because that's exactly how Lee Scott slowed in his practice run.
Yeah, exactly.
And we switched them around here. Burkhoffs now will lead in Lee Scott. Lee Scott with a bit of work here to do.
Yeah, but you know what? Lee Scott yesterday in practice and through the battles, he was the man that was door to door with most of these guys. So, you know what? I reckon Lee Scott's definitely got a win in him. We're about to find out who's going to take it. It will be Christian Burkhoffs to lead in Lee Scott for the final run of the day. And look at this, Lee Scott not giving Burkhoffs an inch, backs out of it ever so slightly. Burkhoffs throws it in on a nice angle. Lee Scott just shallow, Eddie. This is not the fight that I expected Lee Scott to bring to Christian.
No, certainly not. Christian Burkhoffs looking very comfortable, really fluid, very wide line. Now Scott looks to bring the fight as he closes in on the door. Oh! Would you believe it?
Wow!
4 wheels off from Burkhoffs, almost certainly handing the victory to Lee Scott. Unforced error. Unbelievable stuff.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, as they stop, give him a round of applause. Christian Burkhoffs.
I'm not sure Lee Scott can believe his eyes.
I cannot wait to see if we can get a replay of that one. Unbelievable. And it just goes to show you, you kind of think it's all over. Lee Scott hangs back, gives Burkhoffs some room. Look at this.
We go back to the Samco Sport replay here, Ian, and
a very late initiation from Lee Scott. Lee Scott hangs back on initiation, straight lines it. Burkhoffs looks like he's dominating the run, absolutely flying. Look, he gets to the wall really early, perfect line. Kind of cuts the circuit a little bit there, doesn't seem to have the legs, but look at that, bam, washes straight off circuit.
What's interesting, Ian, as well, is that there was a massive oil spill on the track right at the end of pro practice this morning. It was cleaned up as best as possible, but I'm wondering, was there a slight little bit of oil
Yeah, I
which
mean,
was
did
missed.
that affect
Burkhoff's
Burkhoff's, yeah.
line? Hard to know, but certainly it looked as though uncharacteristic off there from Burkhoff's.
So we're just going to find out if our judges have a decision, and then
we will of course go to our podium straight after this as well to hand out the trophies for our top 3 finishers in that Pro-Am competition before we start our Pro qualifying for round 1.
So we're going to go to our judges. Judges, do we have a decision?
We have a decision. We are ready to go to the podium.
So Eddie, I'm going to head down to the podium. I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of dealing with this show, and I'll be back in 2 minutes' time.
Thank you very much, Ian. So as we mentioned, we will be going straight to our podium. We'll be bringing back all 3 top finishing drivers, and we will of course announce our 3rd place has been decided. Alistair Sutton finishing in 3rd, with Dan Tyler finishing in 4th. Lee Scott and then Christian Burkhoff's fighting it out there for the top spot, and of course judges having made their decision on that one. So just a reminder that Pro qualifying will commence immediately after the podium, and our prizes are handed out to our drivers. And of course all 4 drivers, top 4 placing drivers from the Pro-Am competition, will compete in qualifying for the Pro competition. Quick mention to our sponsors this year. Of course, none of this would be possible, and all the advancements we're making in the series, and of course the graphic system for our live stream, wouldn't be possible without our fantastic sponsors: AM Details, Brian James Traders, Cosmos Racing, Funk Motorsport, Jap Speed, JDM Distro, Link ECU, Monster Energy, MTech Brakes, Samco Sport, Simpson Race Products, VP Racing Fuels, and of course Zestino Tires. So as the guys take up their positions, I will hand you back over to the very capable hands of Ian Waddington.
Thank you, Eddie. So I'm down here on the grid, ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, in the grandstand, Funk Motorsport grandstand, give them a round of applause, your Pro-Am finalists. Unbelievable day yesterday. These guys battled really hard in changing weather conditions, and you know what? Switching it up to come in and battle today, outstanding level. We look forward to seeing these guys try and qualify in the Pro-Am grid in just a minute. But first, taking the 3rd step on the podium, Alistair Sutton. That just leaves one more decision to be made. Taking the 2nd step. And with an unbelievable drive, we can't wait to see how he gets on for the rest of the weekend. Christian Burkhoff's. That means your round 1 Pro-Am winner is Lee Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, when he gets on that podium, I want you to raise the roof. Funk Motorsport grandstand, your Pro-Am finalists. Eddie, it's back to you.
Thank you, Ian. And of course, now that we have announced the result of our final, we will quickly just head back over to our judges just to talk us through the decision on that one. Pretty clear cut, Dave, it appeared on the 2nd run, but
yeah, great driving from everybody, and you know what, we were going to have a tough decision there with Lee and Christian going so well, but unfortunately 4 wheels off the track is 4 wheels off the track, and in the 1st run Burkhoff's did have an advantage, but of course 4 wheels off means that Lee Scott took a 10-0 on the 2nd run, and essentially that's all she wrote. It was enough to put him back on top spot of the podium. Great driving from all those 3 guys over the last day and a half. Incredible stuff. Very worthy finalists, and congratulations to Christian on his BDC debut, taking the win.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? That guy's travelled a long, long way. And like we say, Dave, we watched him earlier in practice. We've watched him all weekend, and he's been a guy that's been unbelievable. But Lee Scott going home with the most amount of points available on the table. 1st place qualifier, won the event. Looking strong going into competition today, Eddie.
yeah, it really is, Ian. And sometimes, you know, you need that little bit of luck and the rub of the green to take it to the top step of a podium. And it gets his championship off to an epic start. Now, unfortunately for him, he was saying to me earlier on in the pits that he has a boat to catch this evening, so he may not be able to stay around too much longer after maybe 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. So could be interesting to see if they decide to switch up to a different boat time should he start to progress through the competition. And certainly, based on what we've seen, I don't see him bowing out at too early in a stage here.
No, exactly. So we're just going to get Christian Spurkoffs off the track. Looks like he just needs a little bit of help with his car, and Lee Scott. And then we are ready to get underway with our Pro-Am qualifiers, Eddie. A packed grid.
Our pro qualifiers, rather.
Sorry, our pro qualifiers. A packed grid, an unbelievable lineup. It's probably the best and greatest lineup I think I've ever seen in pro grid in the BDC.
Yeah, such a stacked grid, and you've got former champions like Mike Marshall. You have your current champion Matt Carter. You have, unfortunately, it looks like we could be down one of the Perry family members, but more on that later. But visiting drivers, Paul Conlon coming over from Ireland, Dwayne McKeever coming over from Ireland, and Leonard Keppert as well, returning this year to take on the BDC, the best in the BDC have to offer. We also have Sultan Al Qasimi all the way over from Abu Dhabi, and he's driving a brand new left-hand drive AE86 Corolla and looking really confident out there in that this morning. Oliver Evans, of course, looking to take home his first ever championship win here in BDC. And could it be the season that for Oliver Evans to take home the championship? Could he steal that away from Matt Carter? Martin Richards also back in under the Driftworks brand and looking very confident out there again this morning.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of those guys, Eddie, they're putting a lot of time in the season, in the off time to build their cars and prep themselves for the forthcoming season. And everyone looking strong in practice. Martin Richards is one of those guys that you can count on to be inside that top 16 because his car build is absolutely phenomenal. The level of driving that he can put out is absolutely unstoppable. So I'm expecting big things today from these drivers. So. But it does look like we are ready to go for qualifying. Just waiting to get our first car on the start line.
So hearing that we have a quick word with Simon.
I think I've got something here, Eddie.
Belonging to him, yeah.
So Simon Perry, I do have something here that belongs to you. I do believe this is, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the rest of it. He's got a little bit more of it in his hands.
Simon Perry, ladies and gentlemen, had a bit of a problem earlier. We're going to head down to Ben to find out what's going on.
And a very reliable engine, they all now seem to be outside of the engine with a great big hole in it. Phil and Simon, not a great start to round one.
What can you say? It happens, like you say, it's been reliable for 2 years. We've looked after it, did a good strong engine, pushing hard today. Cars felt good all weekend. Obviously RJB on board now, obviously owns a GTR himself. Wanted me to take the engine out of that, but we just can't do that in the time.
It's a shame that we don't have a ramp, so you could at least take the engine out of this spare GTR that seems to be sat here. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a roll cage, so we can't be using that for today's drifting. Simon's going to rebuild the engine. They've already been on eBay and bought a new engine while we've been waiting to speak to you, so you're going to have a busy couple of days to get that fixed.
Well, obviously we want to get that done, get some testing done under his belt before round 2, make sure we can come back stronger and ready for it. Everything is working now for the team, the tyres are working for the team, and to be fair, we just need some seat time with the new tyres and everything else.
It's a real shame to not have you back, giving it all, giving the fans a show what they're looking for.
We're going to go out in Judd's, so we're going to try it in Judd's car. Obviously she's down on ponies a little bit, she's only 400 horsepower, but hey, we'll give it a go.
I look forward to seeing you in another borrowed car, and I know you'll be pushing super hard. Good luck, Si.
Cheers, guys.
So there you go, Eddie, fireworks straight away. And I'm going to keep this bit, Simon Perry. Do you mind if I keep a hold of that? That's a BDC memento right there. That might be. I get him to sign it. It might be worth a few quid in a few years' time.
Yeah, bound to be worth a few pounds. I'm glad I'm not left with that bill of having to replace the GTR engine.
Exactly.
So in no particular order, we will be going through our qualifying this morning. Unlike other rounds, the first round is a little bit different where we don't do championship order. So we will have a just random selection of drivers out on track. The first of those will be former BDC champion Mike Marshall in a new build.
Yeah, Mike Marshall in a brand new build this year, the BMW 1 Series. retaining that N54 engine under the bonnet. Single turbo conversion. This car sounds and goes amazingly. And off the line for his first qualifying run is Mike Marshall. You can just see those 3-2-1 cones there as he throws it in nice and wide through clipping point 2. Going to wash all the way to the wall. Just transitions a little bit early, and it's going to put him to the wall in maybe the wrong position, but just cuts it fine for clipping point 4. Looking good so far though, he's keeping it nice and wide, and they just see it backing out of it ever so slightly. Oh, and nearly comes to a stop. Shallow off clipping point 6. But a nice snappy transition, a big kick of the clutch as he crosses the line. Not looking too bad for a first qualifying run. So that is Mike Marshall debuting that brand new car. And we move it along, Eddie, to the next driver. So are we going to wait for...
Yeah,
we're just going to wait for our graphic system
to pop up a score, yeah. So
yeah.
Judges, of course, using their brand new technology for the first time this weekend, inputting their scores, and again, that whole new judging system which Dave has alluded to. And we will go back to Dave after each of the drivers has completed the first of their qualifying runs, just to see where drivers are going right and where they could pick up a few more points. So we await the score of Mike Marshall before we see our second driver. Of course, all of these drivers will take 2 qualifying runs in non-consecutive. So just hearing Mike Marshall scoring a 64.3, so 64.3 on his first run for Mike Marshall, as we move on to our second driver, which will be the engineer from Devon, Ollie Elmore. He's representing Hell Performance, GK Tech, ETS Racing Fuels, in his 2JZ 700 brake horsepower R33 Skyline.
That's not many, is it?
No.
That's just a few. So off the line, Ollie Elmore supporting a big, big wing this year as he fires that car, and Ollie Elmore just looking ever so tentative on the entry there, and he didn't look like the normal Ollie Elmore.
Yeah, strange line there from Ollie, but getting the car into that outer clipping zone now. Can he keep a nice wide line here as he takes to the wall, just ever so slightly getting into that clipping zone? Not the perfect line here, and this is where he might see him struggle a little bit, and certainly he does. Has to deviate from that line, very hard to get out to that wall, having not taken the correct line.
Yeah, not the best run there for Ollie Elmore. It's definitely a run in the bag, but yeah, slightly deviated offline. Very strange transition as he come off of clipping point 6. He kind of transitioned a little bit too early, which then put him way offline for 7 and 8. Manages to get it to the wall for 8, but it's going to hurt his score massively. So we wait for the judges to input their score in our new system.
So we await the score from Ollie Elmore, as you can see just on the screen. So it's a 48 for Ollie Elmore. As next on the line now is Paul Conlon. Paul Conlon representing Link, Engine Management, Extreme Clutch, Hell Performance and Norscaf. Making the trip all the way from Northern Ireland here this weekend and looking to put in a big, big run here. He's
Paul Conlon,
a former EDC winner, and he said he's here to taking no SH1T this year. He's out to try and take home a BDC title. This man has a wealth of experience and has just struggled over the last number of years to really find that consistency, which is essential if you want to, start seeing yourself in the podium spots at the end of competition. So Paul Conlon crosses the line as we await the score from our judges.
Yeah, Paul Conlon not doing a bad job there, Eddie. You know, he had limited practice earlier on this morning. The car had a massive misfire. He went out and did a twin run with Paul Smith from Team Jet Speed. Yeah, car had a huge misfire. Looks like the guys down there in the pits got that car fixed and ready for action. We move it back to the line where we do have Richard Grimrod. Richard Grimrod, the Fibre Factory owner from Birmingham, supporting Driftworks Fibre Factory. Driftworks wheels, Viking Auto Garage. Popped up to the judging tower earlier. Got some tips from Brian Poffenkerry. And this guy looks flying. Very, very fast car. Supercharged LSX under the bonnet of this E36 BMW.
And running a really nice line here, Ian, as well. Nice and wide. Can he take it to the wall? Look at that.
Good run so far from Grimrod. Grimrod, always a guy that puts everything on the line, never missing out on the chance to impress the judges. And look at this, Eddie, all the way through clipping point 6. Nice, snappy transition onto 7. Can he take the wall and exit? It's certainly close. What a run from Grimrod.
Yeah, really strong first run from Grimrod as he lays it down, and he'll be heading back to the pits, feeling confident after that one. Quite the performance there from him, and and one driver just laying down a statement early on.
Yeah, exactly. A guy putting it all out there. You know, he's another guy that's going to want to be hungry for this championship. He's going to want to prove his worth. So judges just putting their score in for that. Just trying to get our everything in order.
So yeah, we await the scores from the judges for Richard Grinrod, and of course for Paul Conlon. A brand new scoring system that we have here, and as with technology, it just needs a slight little bit of
a little bit of adjustment every now and then.
A breaking in period. So some teething issues here this morning, but we will get those sorted as the morning goes on. So you can see on the line, just waiting for our judges just to make sure that they have everything recorded.
Yeah, Anthony Mortley sits on the line, ready for his first qualifying run. Running a 700 horsepower 2JZ under one of that S15.
I mean, who isn't running a 700 brake horsepower 2JZ these days?
You've got one in the smart car, that's why it's not here, that's what I was told.
That's it?
Stone Motorsport apparently are putting a 2J in the smart car so that you can whip round quick IDC.
Yeah, I'm going to be the wild whip.
No, that's Nathan.
That's, yeah, stealing his lines. Stealing his lines, stealing his name.
So Anthony Mortley sits on the line in that new livery for this year. Painted the car black. That chrome red vinyl standing out.
Yeah, Mortley drifting for 7 years. He's representing HKS Washloo Insomnia Energy Drinks as well, coming on board this year to give him some support. And not easy for him having to wait on the line here, Ian. Obviously, we have to make sure that the system is technically correct before we move it on. But yeah. Not easy for a driver. Just you build yourself up. You don't want to have that long wait on a start line. The nerves just start to kick in. Your mind goes into overdrive. You obviously have experienced this more so than me in the past.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you say, Eddie, you start to overthink stuff. You're sitting there, you're like, come on, I just want to get it, because you get yourself pumped up to that point. You pull to the line. Everybody who drives in the BDC knows Mount, because he's very, animated. He likes to get you excited in the car. He kind of starts building you up, and then all of a sudden, it's like, no, you're gonna wait. So it kind of throws you a little bit, and then you have to rein yourself back in, and then get in the mindset of how it's going to be sent on. So we're just going to wait to get our new system rebooted, I do believe, so that we can. Get it up and running. Oh, and there we go.
So, Richard Grinrod's score dropping in, and you can see an average score of 77 from our three judges, leaving him in first position. And we will update you guys as soon as we have a score for Paul Conlon's run. So still waiting on a score from Paul Conlon's run, but we will obviously update you with that as soon as it comes into us. Now, on the line, Anthony Mortley. He has been waiting very patiently. You just see Malx taking up position, gives him the thumbs up, gives him the starter's orders. He is off the line for his first qualifying run.
Yeah, Anthony Mortley throws in that 700 horsepower 2JZ, but he's way offline, Eddie. This is not looking good for Mortley already. The initiation was far too late. Took the inside line, and you know what, this is going to hurt his score massively.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of emphasis would be put on that first part of the course as well. If that goes wrong, the rest of it's not going to be right, and you just see not getting out to the line on any part of this track, not able to correct it, and yeah, it'll be one to forget about for Anthony Mortley.
Yeah, definitely. You know what, and I can only assume that is just sitting there, Eddie, waiting to do your run. That's kind of thrown him a little bit. So we wait for Anthony Mortley's score to drop in from our judges.
So, quick overview of the track there if you're watching at home from the guys at See It Live here, who look after all of our live stream camera angles. And you know, with so much smoke being created by these cars, we need camera angles almost everywhere in order for this sport to be judged properly and commentated on properly as well. So we've cherry pickers scattered around the course here, and you can see just some of the angles these guys have to work with.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? One of the people that make it really hard work for our judges and for ourselves to see what's going on is Aramis Vascalis. We're going to see him coming up later on in qualifying. You know, that car lays out so much smoke that earlier on he was drifting back through his own smoke that was so dense that he couldn't see the wall. So you know that could potentially be an issue for Vascalis.
Yeah, you know, it's a massive hazard really, you know, and if it's that bad for him in the car, can you imagine what it feels like to be in the chase position, having no idea where his car is, where the wall is? It's quite a daunting daunting thought. So you can see so much rubber already laid down, and again, the conditions here perfect this morning. A score of 42 we're hearing for Anthony Mortley.
So 42 for Anthony Mortley. Work to do there ready in his first run. On the line up next is Julie Robinson. Julie Robinson, a female driver. Been in the series since day one, Eddie. 10 years strong is Julie Robinson in this championship.
Yes, a wealth of experience, drifting since 2005, so even drifting longer than the existence of this championship. And she's in a pretty standard 2.5, 320 brake horsepower, or 32 Skyline. She's representing Euro spec, and the delivery driver will be hoping to deliver some good results here for her sponsor and for herself.
Oh wow.
It starts already.
It's started already. So just waiting to get Julie Robinson off the line. We get the thumbs up from our guys in the tower. They are ready to go. Track marshals get the thumbs up. And Julie gets the thumbs up. She's ready to go for her first qualifying run of 2018.
So Julie looking quite comfortable out in practice this morning. Can she? Oh, lots of understeer there though. It locks up the front wheels on initiation there, Ian.
Yeah, you know what, for me, it was just a late initiation. She initiated far too late. You can see the cones there and the run up to clipping point 1, 3, 2, 1 cones. Used as a visual guide for the judges so they can kind of, gauge how fast and how far back these guys are initiating. And for me, Julie left it far too late, kind of made a dive into the inside of the track, which caused a whole load of understeer. So, not sure how this one's going to be scored, whether it's going to be very, very low or even a 0. We're yet to find out.
So Julie heads back to her pit area where she will just review her first run and just work out a few little things, and you can just see 0 unfortunately for Julie, and a lot of pressure on the second half of qualifying for her. A lot of these guys, they do come out looking to put in a safe run or a reasonably safe run where they can put a score that will just qualify them, and then come out for the second run when they can just push the boat out a little bit, try something a little bit new, and try and bump themselves up the order then.
Exactly.
But
so
now Julie, we're moving on to talking about it. Talking about Vasquez. You can see him approach the line. He starts to swarm those tyres already. It's just the amount of smoke that he's created just warming the tyres as he leaves the line.
Yeah, the delivery driver from London. Oh, and Vasquez falls off circuit, Eddie. Vasquez falls off circuit.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic from Vasquez. This car, 4.4 litre, 760 brake horsepower, BMW V8 with a big Scania turbo on it. And not what we expect to see from Vasquez, but you still get just an idea of how much smoke this car creates.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. If you're in the chase position right now and you're trying to follow this guy, it's just insane. Like, you cannot see a thing behind him. So, not sure what happened there for Vasquez. But yeah, definitely 4 wheels off there already. So assuming that is a 0, which is going to make it official from our judges.
Now, one man who will be looking to make a lot of noise here this weekend will be our next driver, all the way from Northern Ireland. He is a 2-time IDC champion. He was won the only event that he's ever competed in here in BDC last year. He's running a 650 brake horsepower RB 25.5, and he is one of the best drivers we have ever seen in Europe. Dwayne McKeever is coming here to take on the BDC for a full season, and he's coming here to take that championship back to Northern Ireland.
Exactly. You know what? I've wanted to see this guy in UK, and I wanted to see him drive for a very, very long time. So judges just dropped the score in there for Aramis Vasquez. It isn't a 0. They did count the rest of it as a run, and judges saying that it was only 3 wheels off circuit, so he scores a 13, but very far down the order. But yeah, getting back to Dwayne McKeever, this guy, super talented, very, very aggressive driving style. If you get a chance to see some in-car footage of McKeever, you'll notice that guy drives the car with the clutch and accelerator only, hardly uses the handbrake. So expect to see fireworks right now, as Dwayne McKeever will look to top qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about Dwayne McKeever, you're talking about a guy who you can count the mistakes that he's made over the last number of years in battle action or in competitive drifting on one hand. If things don't work out to him, they tend to be mechanical issues rather than driver error. Just look at how wide he is taking it right out to the wall. And then Dwayne McKeever is on it here.
Yeah, look at this, McKeever all the way out to the white line, absolutely nailing this circuit. Gets nice and personal with Kevin Moyne 6. Now, can he run the wall on the way out? Nice and deep in the 7. This is unbelievable for Dwayne McKeever. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Northern Smoke Machine, Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, what do you even say about that? Dwayne McKeever is just another level when it comes to staying on qualifying line. Put a wall in front of him and he is guaranteed to smack the back end of his car off it. He is going to be a tough competitor to try and overcome today.
Yeah, exactly. That guy is going to be someone that everyone's going to be looking to gun down because he is going to be, like you say, up there in the qualifying order.
So we await the score for Dwayne McKeever, and certainly looks as though that could be one to contend for top spot. Richard Grinrod setting the bar to 77 so far. Mike Marshall in second place with a 64. Some lower scores then. Other drivers not breaking into the 50s. But Dwayne McKeever, where will he land when the score comes in?
So well, there we go. An 86.7, an 86.7 for Dwayne McKeever. Spoke to him yesterday. He welded the water pump together on this car just the other day, just to get to BDC. There isn't another water pump available in the UK for his engine.
Yeah, he's running a 6.2 LS3 with 550 brake horsepower underneath the bonnet. And look how well he managed to take that car right out to the edge of the circuit. Just has to back off as he comes into the slower braking section of the circuit. Right out to the edge of the wall there, and Ian Phillips looking to put in a big run here.
Yeah, this looks very, very good for Ian Phillips. Not had the best of luck in previous events, but you know what? It looks like he's got it dialed. Looks like he's got the car dialed. Arm out the window. He's so happy with that run.
Yeah, he'll be enjoying that. But he says the 2018 rebuild has nearly killed him. He's out representing his sponsors: Tarmac Sports, Ortec Welding, Tri-Ace Tires, Morris Lubricants, Lace Gold Electrical, Emerald ECU, Bram Racing, and Project Tugi. And it looks as though we may have fixed some of our technical issues. We just wait for the judges' score to drop in. Some of our graphic system seems to be working on the screen now, and we will start to see the scores drop in just on the left-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, as you say, Eddie, just waiting for that graphic to work and just to pop on the screen. You know, brand new system here. It's going to take a while for us to get used to it and everybody else and the rest of the team to get into the flow of things, but so a 73 there for Ian Phillips. 73 drops him into third position so far. We move it along to the line just to a man who's had not the best of weekends so far. Simon Perry sits on the line in a borrowed car from his teammate Richard McCall.
Yeah, so obviously we spoke to Simon Perry. We saw the bits of engine from his R35 GTR in his hands and now taking to a borrowed car. The first time he's ever driven this car. Didn't get to take a practice run in it this morning. This is the only run he's done, and it's a competitive run, so difficult. You can see him battling the steering wheel, but not a bad attempt here from Simon Perry, demonstrating the level of skill that this man possesses, but struggling really just to get that car right where he'd wanted it in.
Yeah, exactly. You know what, Simon Perry will be quite at home in an R33 Skyline. This guy's been driving Skylines for as long as I can remember, and you know, it doesn't do a bad job. He will be absolutely chuffed to be out there and supporting his sponsors today. So
yeah, I mean, it's worth noting that he is the only driver never to miss a round in the 10-year history of the British Drift Championship, and even with a blown engine in practice this morning, getting out there and just keeping that record going, representing his sponsors: RJB Civil Engineering, RS Tuning, CG Motorsport, Pro Alloy, Maxilon. So we await the score from Simon Perry. We don't expect that one to, take it to the top spot, but certainly a score on the board for him.
Yep, and there we go, Eddie, 63. So a 63 for Simon Perry in his first qualifying run, drops him into fifth position, and we move it along to Adam Simmons. Adam Simmons, had a little chat with him earlier. That guy hopped on a boat, shot over to Ireland, got his car mapped at West Coast Performance, and back, and says it's better than ever, and he's hungry for a championship, he's hungry for some wins. And looking good in practice, Eddie, and look at this, a nice line from Adam Simmons, all the way to the wall to Simmons. This looks good. Oh, a little bit of understeer, shallow angle as he takes it again all the way to the wall.
Yeah, the man responsible for most of the paintwork you'll see on the BDC grid. He said he was dying to get back behind the wheel. He was fed up of working in the garage. A few errors just creeping into the run here, but gets it back online. Simmons crossed the line.
Yeah, and a good run there for Simmons, you know. Pulled it out of the bag, but it mattered. A few errors, like we say, Eddie, you know, not the cleanest of runs.
Yeah, look, it's been a long off-season for these guys, and, you know, a few cobwebs that they have to overcome, and, you know, they're only starting to warm up here. It's the first round. It's only qualifying. They've only had a couple of, you know, practice laps, and you can guarantee these guys will be nailing it by the end of the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. So we await for Adam Simmons' score to pop on our screen.
You can see, of course, Adam Simmons' teammate Matt Stevenson waiting patiently on the line as the score drops in. 54.7 for Adam Simmons. So a nice steady starter run for him, but he will look to improve on that now. The owner of Slide Motorsport, Matt Stevenson, on the line in this breathtaking LS3 6.2, 430 brake horsepower. This car absolutely impeccable.
Yeah, and a huge entry there from Matt Stevenson, carrying big angle on initiation. This looks nice. Fast and flowing from Stevenson. Can he take it to the wall? He does. A small waver as he comes into clipping point 4. Oh, a massively wide. Sacrifices loads of line, and oh, you know, an over rotation for Stevenson.
Not how Stevenson would have wanted to kick off his 2018 season, but certainly one more qualifying run remains for him, and he will have to really just get himself focused. Didn't make too many changes to the car in the off season, just a quick freshen up. And you can see there, yeah, a 0 on the board from him. As we move on to our next driver, which will be visiting driver Leonard Keppert. He's representing IROC Performance. He's 6'7" tall, so just you know, an inch or two taller than myself. He's only able to fit into this car because it's specially built for him. So you won't see this guy driving around in an MX-5, that's for sure. It's an M3 turbo, 800 brake horsepower, so quite an underpowered car.
Yeah, Keppert not doing a bad job so far. Looking good. Throws on too much angle there, though. Sacrifices at line, pulls himself way off the wall, and now it starts to try and rein it back in. It's a scrappy run so far from Keppert, but we see him in practice earlier. This guy was looking absolutely strong. Making absolutely tons of smoke out the back from those Westlake tyres.
So Leonard Keppert awaits the score. You can just see the amount of smoke that has to clear off the circuit after these guys complete a full run. And, you know, as you mentioned about Vasquez, quite often they create smoke that they then have to drift through, and creates a whole new challenge for them to try and visually judge where the car needs to be to get it right out to that outer clipping zone and stay in the scoring zone.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're driving blind, you know, if you think about it in that respect, that you can't see. And there was a few guys earlier in practice, in twin practice, getting door on door, and they fall back ever so slightly once the smoke screen starts to appear, especially from people like Vasquez and Keppert, they just can't see. So unless you are door to door, it is all over. So a 50 there for Leonard Keppert. That drops him into 7th position. We move it along to the third and final Slide Motorsport driver of the day. It will be Jason Clark in that LS2 stroked 6.7 litre, 500 horsepower Mazda RX-7.
Yeah, originally an import and then fully built by himself, and obviously a fabricator, so able to do all the fabrication work, cage, etc. on this car himself, which cuts down the cost. But look at this line from Jason Clark. Oh, just a
little waver, Eddie.
Waver.
Yeah, a little waver, not good. But you know what? Manages to keep a hold of it. It had to back out the throttle though, so he's kind of.
Oh, massive understeer.
Not looking good for Clark. Like you say, grabbing a whole load of understeer. Car just doesn't look like it's reacting very well at the moment. Maybe to hold a little bit too much grip on.
But you know what? He's managed to keep it going, and he will put a score on the board. Takes it right out to the wall and across the line, guys. Put your hands together for Jason Clark. Really having to work to. Excuse me. Just swallowed some smoke.
Working really hard to make it work. You know, it wasn't a fluid run. It didn't happen naturally. So
we wait the score from the judges. Of course, as we said, Jason Clark will put a score on the board, but just some of those small little errors creeping into that run will hamper the score a little bit for him. Where will he place, though?
So as we await for that score to drop in for Jason Clark, we can see on the line, up next is Oliver Evans, the VP Racing Fuel sponsored driver. Oh, and a 50 for Jason Clark. So a 50 for Jason Clark drops him into 7th position. And we go back, Oliver Evans, the VP Racing Fuel sponsored Westlake Tyres driver. He says he's sponsored BMXer, he's short, dark and handsome. Well, you know, Eddie.
A bit like myself.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, look, I mean, you're talking about a debut season here, a full season for Oliver Evans in Pro. He wowed us last year, but this is the first time from the start of the season, from the get-go, he's a pro driver. He has to live up to the name that he created for himself last year. He came over to IDC and he put it up to some of the biggest names in the sport. He's taken down the likes of Jack Shanahan. This guy has it all, but can he take home a round win? Can he take home the 2018 championship? That is what he's here to do.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when I spoke to him earlier, super excited. He says that the car is 10 times better than what it is. Quick engine rebuild in the off-season, had a few problems on the dyno when they was getting it tuned, but he feels confident. And you know what? If a guy like that feels confident, then everybody else on the grid needs to be worried, because he is a force to be reckoned with. And like we say, he come through from Pro-Am, absolutely tore the class apart, got into Pro, and took Matt Carter to almost one more time here, you know, last year.
He didn't just beat people last year. He dominated them, he bullied them, he pushed them around the track, and we're excited to see, him turn around. So just hearing that he just wants to warm his tyres in, obviously track conditions here, very cold here this morning, wintry conditions. No rain though, thankfully.
You've said the R word, and I promised I wouldn't mention it all day, and you've gone and said it. Just putting it out there.
Sometimes you have to say it.
Sometimes you have to say it. So Oliver Evans back on the line, just getting some heat into those tyres. Yeah, very cold, like you say, Eddie. It's not doing that thing out of the sky, but it's cold out there, so not what the drivers want. Listen to Oliver Evans, absolute aggression as he fires that VP Racing Fuels S14.5 in nice angle as he comes through clipping point 2, all the way to the wall. Big aggression, flat to the floor on the throttle, Eddie. This looks strong from Evans so far.
It really does, yeah. He's taking it right to the edge of the circuit, shredding those tyres, and using every last inch of circuit here, almost dropping a wheel, losing the rear bumper as he switches it back now. 2 clips to go. Can Oliver Evans go top? He tags the wall on exit. Grandstand, make some noise for Oliver Evans.
You know what? That was an answer for Dwayne McKeever. Dwayne McKeever come out top qualifying, and Oliver Evans turned around and went, "That's nothing. Watch this." What a run.
Oliver Evans, Dwayne McKeever.
Again.
Best of pals, right?
Best of pals. They love battling each other. They get on like a house on fire, Eddie.
So Oliver Evans making a statement of intent. Can he go top? The score to beat is 86.7. We saw our Pro-Am driver Lee Scott break into the 90s in qualifying yesterday. Who's going to be the first one to do it today? Oliver Evans' score appears on the screen, a 74. Not enough to top qualifying, but certainly enough to go into second or third position rather for the moment. He's going to have to come back out and put on a big show as we move on to Martin Richards in the freshly rebuilt Driftworks R32. He's back here again this season. What can he do this time around? Can he take home the championship win?
Yeah, look at this. Martin Richards absolutely laying it down. That car looking impeccable. A lot of work done. Redesign. Listen to Richards. Not giving that car any break whatsoever. Absolutely hammering as he fires that car in just shy of clipping point 5.5. Gets nice and cozy with the wall, but he's going to want to need to tidy this up and get a little bit further out for 8. He just about brings it to the line. Close, Eddie, but you know what? It just kind of fell apart a little bit at the end there for me.
Yeah, but you know, it's important to remember these guys are only just warming up. They've only just started to do their stretches. This is early, you know, the first 5 minutes of the game, and they're going to come back out in the second run. That's where we're going to see big jumps up the scoreboard, big smoke, big angle, and lots more wall runs. That's where it gets a lot more exciting. These guys, they're only getting started.
They're getting heated up, yeah, exactly. So we wait for Martin Richards' score to drop on the board. And there we go, Martin Richards drops into third position with a 76. Third position with a 76. Nearly all the judges there voting the same. So up next on the line is Brett Perry, the son of Simon Perry we see earlier on. Brett Perry, a force to be reckoned with. Did well in that Pro-Am class last year.
Yes, and of course, father and son of the Perry family competing against each other in the Pro Championship this year. And I'm sure we'll see some interesting battles between the two of them before the season is out.
Yeah, not looking good for Perry there. You know what? Looked tidy as he come off the wall. Kind of cut the circuit. The car straightened and looked like it was going to completely fall off circuit. He's got his arm out the window. He's happy with himself. And let's see where Brett Perry drops in.
So Brett Perry, the landscaper from Leeds, looking to make a name for himself in this Pro division here this season in BDC. Few hours though, as you mentioned, Ian, in that run. And again, it is quite a long run. There's a lot going on. And a 71, the score from the judges for Brett Perry, so not bad.
Yeah, not a bad run. We go back to the line. We do see Dean Barber of Team Red Mist on the line, ready for his first qualifying run. SR20, 488 horsepower. An absolute all-round nice guy, Dean Barber. Send that car in. Looking, you know what, practice, moments of brilliance, Eddie, but then it just kind of falls apart a little bit for Dean Barber, and seems to be a reoccurring story for him. But looking right now like he can hold it together. Absolutely perfect on that line. Oh, it's wide. It's very, very wide there.
Yeah, it seems like there's still an element of, you know, track slippiness at that section, because a few drivers now washing wide and having to shut it down. Dean Barber limps across the line, and it looks as though that could be a straighten before the line and an unfinished run.
Yeah, you know what that looked like? Yeah, and exactly that. It will be a 0. So it will be an incomplete run there for Dean Barber. So that will be a 0. And that looked like it was so promising for Barber. We move it along. The lead Barker off the line at Midnight Motorsport, sponsored driver. The nightclub bouncer and hydraulic engineer from Slough. Absolutely throwing it in. Oh, but Barker falls off circuit. 3 wheels. He manages to keep it together. Starts to pedal this big R34 Skyline. 550 horsepower.
Yeah, Barker here representing Walton Motorsport, Absolute Customs, Garage D, CV Automotive, Violent D, Infamous Creations, Strongflex UK, and of course Westlake Tyres, and putting on a show and looking to take home some silverware this season in BDC.
Yeah.
As he says himself, it's a big old boat, but it's deceivingly quick. Now, can he put a big score on the board? We await the judge's opinion on that one.
Yeah, a few mistakes that he fell off track in a few places, you know, dropping wheels and scrappy line as he come into clipping point 6 and the transition off into 7. So it's going to hurt his score, you know, judge is going to penalise him quite a bit on that. But we wait to see where he drops in. And there we go. A 24.3 in 15th position for Lee Barker. So all the work to do. But Eddie, we head to the line to someone who has come a long, long way.
Yeah, all the way from Denmark is Christian Christensen. He said he's come here. He needs to prove a point to himself and to everybody that he can compete with the best that Britain has to offer. And what went wrong there, Ian?
And you know what, Eddie? Just as you said that, it all went wrong for Christian Christensen. He sent that car in. I'm not quite sure whether he just grabbed understeer or if something broke.
Yeah, we head back to the Samco Sport replay. We'll need it from the start line.
Yeah, it just looked like he sent it in, grabbed a whole load of understeer. 1,000 horsepower under the bonnet of this little MX-5 LS2 turbo. It's a D-stroke to 5.4 litres water-cooled intercooler intake and a home-built wide body, and that will be a 0, unfortunately, for Christian Christensen.
Yeah, he's going to really have it all to do on his second run when he comes back out. Hopefully there's not too much wrong with that car. It did look as though it just wouldn't take any grip as he tried to enter. But a 0 for Christian on his first run. Not how the Dane would have wanted to start his 2018 campaign here at BDC. So we've got to move it on to the first of our Japspeed drivers, which will be Paul Smith. He's representing Japspeed and, of course, Maxxis Tyres.
Yeah, Paul Smith putting down a solid initiation, just backed out of it ever so slightly after throwing it in, but gets way back in it all the way to the wall. Paul Smith had a very consistent line all day. Manages to keep that car in the constraints of the circuit that the judges were looking for. Nice and tidy on clipping point 6. This is a nice tidy run from Paul Smith. Said he was hungry for a championship win.
Yeah, looking to replicate what his teammate has achieved in 2017, and certainly getting himself off to a nice start there. So, Paul Smith puts in a score on his first run. We await the judges just to see what that score is.
So there you go, a 72.7 for Paul Smith. Puts him into 6th position. We move it along to the start line, and it is Mike Walton, Eddie. Mike Walton in not the S13 that we was hoping to see him in.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad thing, because that car was only running a Briggs and Stratton 4-stroke engine out of a lawnmower. So yeah, in a borrowed car, and you can just see the steering wobble there as he doing nothing. Do you know what? This is a really nice line here from Walton.
This is a very good run from Walton Smith. So Mike Walton broke the diff in that car earlier on in that S13. Jumped in his practice car, jumped in the car that he used at Teesside last year. Jake Rolls drove this car yesterday in the Pro-Am Championship, and now look at Mike Walton, absolutely banging it off the wall, does Mike Walton. So let's, sorry, got a strange camera angle here, Eddie.
Yeah, so this is what happens when you bring your beater along with you and you can't drive your normal car, and you just go out there and have a little bit of fun, and you end up putting in an absolute stomper.
Yeah, a blinding run there for Mike Walton. You know what? Just a shame to not see him in that S13. They spent a lot of time now. 2 JZ powered sequential gearbox from Samsonis.
Yeah, and of course they had a lot of sponsors coming on board to help them out this season. Of course, his own motorsport, Walton Motorsport, Cosmos Racing Wheels, CIS Limited, Mac Tools, Absolute Customs, Stellar Paintwork, and Like Hell Design. You can just see here tagging the wall on entry.
That's a hefty wall tag there. Samco Sport Replay sponsoring all the replays in the British Drift Championship this year, and yeah, those guys love a wall run. So a 57.3 for Mike Walton puts him in 10th position, and a very dashing photograph there of the young man.
Yes, he's dashingly handsome.
He is dashingly handsome. He says he's dashingly handsome in his bio as well here. So we move it along. Martin Wonnacott sits on the line. Martin Wonnacott, the 44-year-old builder from Newton Abbott, 1JZ, 702 horsepower.
Yeah, this thing revs to over 8,000 RPM, nitrous setup, crazy build.
Yeah, and do you know what? Oh, just dropping wheels, but keeps in it. Martin Wonnacott driving this Toyota Chaser absolutely flawlessly in practice. Said he felt very comfortable in the pro grid. Just falls offline ever so slightly, Eddie, but he starts to claw it back. You know what? I think the nerves have got to Martin Wonnacott a little bit here, because this is not what we see from practice.
No, certainly not. It's completely different, and he's never really been online correctly here, and that won't be the run that he was hoping for here. So unfortunate there for Martin Wonnacott again. As you say, as soon as these guys get to the line, everything can change when it's competitive action. We await the score from the judges just to make it official.
So just waiting for Martin Wonnacott's score to drop in, and there we go. It is a 44.3, so it drops him into 16th position.
Now next up on the line, making his debut in Pro, and also under the banner of Team Jap Speed, is one of the nicest guys you're likely to meet anywhere in the world, not just in drifting, Matthew Denham. He's pretty tall, plays the drums, and he loves a bit of motocross. This is an LS-based custom engine based on an LS7, has Wisefrap front, it's a BMW E92 M3 rear end, and a rear mounted turbo in this car as well. So
yeah, an absolutely brilliant driver behind the steering wheel. Matthew Denham is the quite respected gentleman in the pit, but when he gets to behind the steering wheel with this RX-8, he puts it all on the line, but dropping wheels, and he manages to keep a hold of it. But this was fast and strong from Denham so far. This guy got a point to prove this year, said if the car holds together, he is going to gun for this championship, and look at that as Denham crosses the line.
Yeah, just getting a little bit out of shape, a couple of spots on the track, but certainly bringing it back together, and not a bad first run for Matthew Denham. So just awaiting the judges' scores and of course for a little bit of that smoke created by Matt Denham and those Maxxis tyres to clear from the circuit. And a 62 on the board for him. 62, not a bad way to start off your 2018 campaign.
No, and another guy looking to kick off his 2018 Pro campaign is Nathan Chivers. Nathan Chivers finds himself back in the Pro Championship for the season.
Yeah, representing Westlake Tyres, GDA, Liquid Proof, Astral Science and Fibre Factory. This is an LS2 supercharged with 660 brake horsepower. The whole car was built at home in the house. And he has brought it here to Rockingham to absolutely tear up the circuit. But another driver struggling to stay on track as they enter that slowing zone here.
Yeah, not looking good for Chivers so far. Manages to finish off the run. It will be a score on the ball, but you know what, Eddie, a huge mistake on initiation. Carl, you know, immediately turned straight. Looked like he was going to head into the wall. So not good for Chivers on his first qualifying run. Yeah, LS2 supercharged under the one. It's 660 horsepower, and there you go, an 18.3 at 20th position for Nathan Chivers. We move it along to Danny Grundy. Danny Grundy on the start line. Driving, again, this little BMW compact. He loves this. I'm sure he breaks his own car so he can drive this compact.
Yeah, this new build S14, unfortunately not ready for round one, so he's competing in his practice car. Not a bad little option to have. You see lots of people competing in these little compacts and you know, they're well able to go, but just struggling to get out to that wide line.
Yep, this of course is the borrowed BMW compact of Philip Hayden. We see this car in Pro-Am yesterday. And you know what, Grundy not doing a bad job. Managing to pedal it quite well so far. Quite a tidy line. It might not be as wide and as deep as what the judges would have liked to have seen, but it's not as bad as what potentially it could have been. A little slow there. Big clutch kick from Grundy as he takes that borrowed car all the way to the wall.
So Danny Grundy completes his first run of qualifying. And with just a few more drivers remaining to complete their first run, and then of course we will switch them all back around and they'll come back out for their second run as we find out who our top 32 are going to be for battle action, or top 24 rather, for battle action later on this afternoon. Now, Danny Grundy's score dropping in a 40.3, not what he would have been looking for or hoping for on his first run. We got to move it along though to our next driver, which would be Kevin Quinn, the owner at Quinn M Sport from Tyrone in Northern Ireland. He's representing Quinn's Motorsport, Cinco Custom Manifolds. This is a fast as fluff 2JZ, 700 brake horsepower, fully built motor, Cinco manifold, Owens turbo, Hypertune inlet manifold, G-Force dog box, Winters quick change, wide fab, you name it, it's got it. Can Kevin Quinn, top qualifying here, running wide just as they enter that teardrop section of the course, but look at the smoke this thing creates in.
Yeah, unbelievable run from Kevin Quinn so far, and he can't even stick it to the wall. We can't even see, there's too much smoke. Yeah, absolutely flawless run there from Kevin Quinn. That guy drives that car 100% all the time. Definitely someone to keep your eye on as we move through this season. So, Kevin Quinn's score drops in.
So while we wait for the score, we also wait for the immense amount of smoke to clear from the track. And Kevin Quinn goes back to the pits after completing his first run, and you have to feel in he should be happy with that. A 71.3 on the board for him, and Kevin Quinn making a statement. We got to move on to our next driver, which will be Peter Hayden. Peter Hayden in this 1987 Laurel with a 4-litre V8 BMW engine underneath the bonnet. There's 400 brake horsepower, S14 suspension. It's supercharged, cut knuckles. This thing is incredible, and he just steers it like no other. He started drifting when he was 15, and his goal was to get to Pro BDC. That's exactly where he is. He's representing M&W Autos, Maxstream, and PAB Mortgages. He'll need a mortgage to try and fund the sport of drifting.
Yeah, not doing too bad a job so far. You can just see how stiff that car is as it bounces around. But
yeah, one of the cars that might lack, you know, visual impact in terms of smoke, but Hayden certainly able to steer it around the track and keep it on the line that the judges are looking for. Again, a lot of drivers seem to be struggling at this teardrop section of the circuit, but Hayden doing a very good job here, just getting that car around. And as he crossed the line, I think he should be happy with that first run in.
Yeah, not a bad run there from Hayden. You know what? First year in pro qualifying, so you know he'll be feeling the pressure for sure. And we can see our 2017 Pro-Am champion sits on the line, Eddie, awaiting his first qualifying run. Scott Cartledge, eager to get things underway.
Yeah, and what a season it was that Scott Cartledge had last year for Peter Hayden, dropping in a 57 for him. But going back to Scott Cartledge, an incredible year for him, taking home that Pro-Am championship. Now he's here, 2018, gunning for just to make a name for himself in the Pro Championship. It's a 4-litre turbo engine, 500 brake horsepower underneath the bonnet of this immense vehicle.
Yeah, this car piloted Scott Cartledge to a championship win last year, and look at this, doesn't look unfazed in this Pro class. Big clutch kick as he throws that car, big angle towards the wall. Just shy of the line, manages to keep it inside, almost over rotates, keeps a hold of it. You can hear Scott Cartledge absolutely pedaling to get that car back going again. A few mistakes, Eddie, not the cleanest run we've seen from Cartledge.
No, certainly not. Scott not getting out to that fourth clipping zone, and I think that really affected the rest of his run through the midsection. So we await the score from him, but I can't imagine it's going to you know, be setting the scoreboard alight. Scott will head back to the pits knowing he has a little bit of work to do here, Ian.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? He's a guy that you can always count on. The second qualifying run will be spectacular. So there we go, a 59.3 puts Scott Cartledge in 12th position. We move it to the line to our 2017 British champion, Matt Carter.
Yeah, and I mean, this guy needs absolutely no introduction. He's a 2-time BDC champion. He's coming here to try and make history this year. He's representing Jap Speed and Maxxis Tyres, Garage D, Sunoco, EP Racing Fuels, the list goes on. Lots of people wanted to get on board. An incredible year for him last year, and he's looking to take off where he finished. Just getting it out to the wall there is Matt Carter now. Can he keep it tidy through the teardrop section? He certainly can. Inch perfect from Matt Carter as he gets back on the power, shreds those Maxxis tyres, and as he crossed the line, guys, make some noise for your 2017 champion, Matt Carter, taking it across the line as he goes back to the pits.
So yeah, Matt Carter there, proving his worth, Eddie, and just proving that, you know, he is a man, he is a force to be reckoned with. That brand new livery on that car having a full rebuild in the off-season, looking absolutely immaculate with that Pandem style body kit on it. We'll wait to see where Matt Carter drops in. Can he top qualifying with that run? And a 77 scores Matt Carter, and it puts him into second position. So Matt Carter sits in second position. Up next on the line, it is Sultan Al Qasimi, all the way from the UAE, representing Monster Energy. SR20, 350 horsepower, converted to left-hand drive just days ago by the garage in Ireland, a Group D. And look at this from Sultan Al Qasimi, looks way at home in this little Toyota Corolla, firing this car through this custom circuit at Rockingham Motor Speedway. Nice line from Sultan.
Yeah, Sultan doing a really good job here. He
Look at this.
looked so comfortable in qualifying. This car seems to really suit his driving style. This, of course, car previously owned by Dave Egan, driven by Alan Hines. A lot of history to this vehicle, and Sultan adding his own mark. What about that from the visiting driver from the UAE? He will be delighted with that one as he heads back to the pit. So, can Sultan Al Qasimi top qualifying in this SR20 powered AE86, 350 brake horsepower, representing Monster Energy and, of course, Lunatics by Nature here this weekend? Wow, really impressive look. Drive there from him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he jumped in that car just yesterday, got some practice, and he looked good in practice, ironed out all the issues. A 73.7 for Sultan Al Qasimi, drops him into 6th place. That is all of... Oh, sorry, I forgot about these guys. We're going to run it back to our Pro-Am qualifiers now, Eddie. These are going to be the top 4 guys that finished yesterday. First up, Dan Tyler. Dan Tyler finishing in 4th place today. So he gets to go up first.
Yeah, and you have to feel Dan Tyler's going to feel a little bit, you know, aggrieved that he didn't have a podium finish today. Not easy coming out this morning. Probably had a sleepless night. Still thinking about the prospects of taking home that first place in the championship today. But He's back out now for Pro. Just doesn't seem to be going right for him, getting on a wide line, but very shallow in the early stages of the course here.
Yeah, very, very shallow, you know, lacking power, not able to carry those big angles, but technically gets back on the right line. A nice technical wall run there from Dan Tyler as he finishes off that run.
Yeah, throws the rear end of that touring BMW right to the wall as he heads over the line. Will it be enough to get himself inside the top 24 places?
So we wait for Dan Tyler's score to drop in. So there we go, a 50 for Dan Tyler, dropping him into 18th position so far. That's going to get bumped down as we go back through qualifying, but not a bad place to be for his first qualifying run. We go back to the line. Alistair Sutton, your third place finisher this weekend. Alistair Sutton now.
Yeah, and of course, if you're just joining us, so yeah, Anthony Mortley, 24th place, right on the drop zone, but
yeah, Alistair Sutton, nice initiation, nice wide line. Now, listen, this could be how it plays out, Eddie. If these guys put down a technically good run, but it doesn't have a lot of impact, it's still going to score quite high. So you could find these guys inside that top 24 later on this afternoon. And look at this from Alistair Sutton. Very, very wide, carrying good speed.
yeah, and it's exactly what you just said, a technically good run. This is what the judges want to see. They will take into account that it is an underpowered car and they can't put on the same level of style or show as some of the 700 or 800 brake horsepower machines that are out on the track.
Exactly, he can't carry the big angle, he can't put down the big smoke, but technically that is a very, very good run. So where does that drop Alistair Sutton into the mix? And judges liking what they see there from Alistair Sutton.
Yeah,
and look at this, a 72 for Alistair Sutton, the Pro-Am third place finalist from this morning, drops into 9th position, Eddie, getting up in the mix. We go back to the line, a man that could do big things in the Pro class. Christian Burkhoffs comes off the line in this LS-powered E36, fires it in, big clutch kick, Eddie. Gets nice and wide now, can he take it all the way to the wall? He does, nice angle. Good transition in front of that Funk Motorsport grandstand and carries it all the way to the wall nice and early. This has got potential, Eddie, for a good run for Burkhoffs.
It really does. It's bonus time for these Pro-Am drivers. They've had the luxury of pretty much having the track to themselves all day yesterday. Now they're coming in to mix it with the big boys, but they're just here to make a name for themselves, have a little bit of fun, and Burkhoff's doing just that. Gets it over the line. Really impressive stuff from this young driver, and could we see him take down some big names later on this afternoon? Where's he going to land in qualifying? Will he be inside that top 24? First off, it looks as though he should be based on what we've seen in that run. As we await the judges' score to come in for confirmation, a 67.7, and these Pro-Am guys are really starting to put it up to our Pro drivers.
Yeah, exactly. These guys are not scared to put it all on the line, and one guy that is sitting high above all the rest of the Pro-Ams right now is Lee Scott. Lee Scott comes off the line, RB25 powered, E46 BMW, first place qualifier, winner of our round 1 championship so far. Look at this from Lee Scott, looking out the side window, cool, calm and collected, Eddie, as he absolutely nails that wall in the middle of the circuit. Could this go high in qualifying? Lee Scott absolutely nailing it, Eddie.
Yeah, this is really impressive from Lee Scott as he smashes the limiter, taking it all the way out to the edge of the circuit, right up against the wall. Big flick as he transitions back to the final sections. Can he take it to the wall? He certainly can, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise for Lee Scott. Wow, what about that?
What a run, Eddie. That was unbelievable from our Pro-Am winner there. You know what, that was a pro run.
That was a victory
without a
lap.
doubt. But now, can Lee Scott top qualifying again? Can he knock Dwayne McKeever off that top spot? We're about to find out. Scores have dropped in, and he can! 87.3 for Lee Scott. Lee Scott, Eddie, looks untouchable right now.
Yeah, I think they're going to be ringing the boat company and saying, you know what, we'll get the ferry in the morning.
We're celebrating tonight. We're moving along to Mike Marshall back on the line. We swap them all around. It's time for their second qualifying runs. Mike Marshall sits on the line, the mechanic from Kent, in that 550 horsepower N54 single turboed BMW 1 Series.
Yeah, he's looking to improve on that 64 that he scored on his first run and bump himself up the order. Mike Marshall, as we mentioned, a former champion in the pro category, a former champion in what would have been the semi-pro category back in 2011, I believe.
Yeah, look at this, Mike Marshall now. Nerves out of the way, fires that car and absolutely dialed on that nice wide line.
Yeah,
gets on the front.
hugs the line the whole way around, but just comes off the wall a little bit too early there, Ian.
Yeah, he's scared to scrape the back end of that car too soon, Eddie. Look at this, he's shy off the wall again. Moved him way away from the clipping point. He gets now nice and wide on clipping point 5.5. He's going to scrub that speed, but it's too much, and he slows the car too much. Completely misses clipping point 6. And it's starting to fall apart from Mike Marshall.
Yeah, what started like a really good run has turned a little bit scrappy, and too many errors just building their way into the run, and I don't think that's going to improve on his first score. A 64 he had, and a 64 I think maybe where he will finish. We just await, you can just see the amount of smoke that that car creates, and
and a 75.3 there for Mike Marshall pushes him in 6th position.
So he does improve on his first run. What do I know?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? There was a few errors. The style and impact that he had outweighing that score. So we move it along. Ollie Elmore sits on the line. That Hell Performance Nissan Skyline R33 representing Hell Performance, GK Tech, ETS Racing Fuels, and look at this, even Ollie Elmore now, every driver now, Eddie's starting to feel the pressure, knowing that they have to put a big run in the bag. And look at this, Ollie Elmore hangs the wing over the wall as he fires that car towards our Funk Motorsport grandstand wall run, just shy of clipping point 4, Eddie.
Yeah, and as you can see, he's currently in that drop zone in 24th position, so he does need a big run here. He needs to improve on the 48 that he scored. Taking it out to the wall now, just hanging that wing over the wall as he comes back to the final sections of the circuit. No lack of smoke, no lack of impact, but did he do enough to improve on the score? Because with a 48 on the first run and with so many drivers left to take to the circuit for their second run, you got to feel like he needs a big score here.
Yeah, exactly. Ollie Elmore hanging in the balance, like you say, sitting in that 24th place drop-off zone. Can he do it? Can Ollie Elmore bump himself up the order? And he can, Eddie. He moves into 16th position with a 62.3. So a 62.3 there for Ollie Elmore, gets him in 16th position. We move it along. Paul Conlon on the line.
Yeah, Paul Conlon sits outside that top 24 right now. He came here saying that he wants to relive those days of old where he's succeeding, coming to events and being the man to beat. He needs to pull it out of the bag here though, because the last thing he wants is to not qualify on the first round of the British Drift Championship. What can he do here, Ian?
Yeah, look at scrappy from Paul Conlon, dropping wheels there as he comes through clipping point 5.5. It's not the best of runs, Eddie. This is not looking good for Conlon.
No, he tidies it up just towards the end and takes it out to the wall as he crosses the line, but Paul Conlon will feel like that's one that got away from him.
Yeah, you know what? I think you could see it in his eyes as he crossed the finish line. Then it's just eluded him ever so slightly. So we wait for the score.
So 46 on the first run for Paul Conlon. He sat outside that top 24, needed a big run to get himself into.
Wow, and look at this. Judges applauding Paul Conlon. A 77 puts him in 3rd position. So Paul Conlon bumps himself way up the order, Eddie. Judges seeing, you know, moments of brilliance in that run. We move it along. Richard Grinrod on the line, representing Driftworks in that LSX Supercharged, 680 horsepower. Look at this from Grinrod, big opposite flick. Gets on the handbrake early, slows that car down and absolutely dials it online, Eddie.
Yeah, very aggressive start to the run from Grinrod. Now, can he keep it going? Big flick of the wheel as he throws it back to that walled outer zone. This looking nice from Grinrod.
Yeah, Grinrod, a very fast driver. Everyone always commenting on his style and his aggression. And look at this from Grinrod, all the way out to the wall. Big clutch kick as he comes into clipping point 6. Nice, fast, snappy transition. Big angle as he comes all the way to 8. And a good run. Give it up for Richard Grinrod, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, big run there from Richard Grinrod and a contender. I think this one should be inside those top few positions. Can he take it to the top though?
Grinrod currently sitting on a 77, so way up the order anyway.
Yeah, that's 77, his safe run, and he jumps into, well, look at that, first position with an 87.3. Grand Sam, make some noise for your highest qualifier so far. Richard Grinrod putting on a show.
Yeah, exactly, laying it all down there, showing exactly what he's come up for this weekend, and it's not to play games, he's coming to take names off the line. Andy Mortley throws in that S15. A scrappy initiation from Mortley. He needs to do everything he can right now. He sits on a 42, he's outside. Wasn't that drop zone, Eddie?
Yeah, it wasn't the best first run from Mortley, but look at this now as he throws it out to the wall. Can he keep it within the confines of the track this time around? He certainly can, and it's looking much better and much improved from Anthony Mortley. And if he can just keep this one going, he could see himself in contention for one of those top 24 spots. And as he crossed the line, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Anthony Mortley. Anthony Mortley looking to improve on that 42. We await the judges just to confirm, will he get into one of those battle positions? Only 24 positions up for grabs in our battle section of the competition later on this afternoon. And a 64, meaning 16th position for Anthony Mortley. Massive improvement there. And he will be absolutely delighted with that in, looking safe.
Yeah, looking safe, but you know what? Still a few drivers to go with a few zeros and a few low scores. Off the line, Julie Robinson.
Yeah, one of the drivers sitting on a 0 in.
Yeah, Julie Robinson currently sitting on a 0. Needs to put down the run of her life right now, but not a good initiation from Julie Robinson. Looks like she's backed out of it. A nice clutch kick to try and get the car going, and again, a big clutch kick. Fires that car towards our Funk Motorsport grandstand. Wall run. Gets back in it, Eddie, but you know what? It's just lacking the impact that we've seen so far from some of the other drivers.
Yeah, you got to say, the impact is really where the scores are going to start jumping up to those 70s and 80s, and just unfortunately for Judy, just didn't have that. Does get the car around, and after the pressure of sitting on a 0, it'll be interesting to see, will it be enough for her to get herself into the top 24, but yeah, certainly maybe the lack of power in that car obviously not helping Judy on that occasion either.
Exactly, so we wait to see where Julie drops in. And if she manages to get herself in, she drops into 21st position with a 58, so bumps herself up, but Eddie, she's close to that drop zone. And we've got a few guys sitting outside it, one of them being this guy right now. Aramis Vascalis currently sits out of that top 24. Not a place he wants to be, Eddie. And look at this, Vascalis bringing the fight. Big initiation from Vascalis.
Yeah, big angle, using every last inch of that lock kit that he has just to keep that car in the circuit. And this looking nice in. As you can see him fighting the steering to throw it out towards the outer line, just getting into that rear clipping zone. And this looking good for Vascalis.
Oh, Vascalis just about keeping it on circuit. Almost puts 4 wheels off. Can he hold it together? That's going to hurt his score, but he needs to do something. And he can't even see the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Aramis Vascalis. Bringing the smoke to BDC.
I think his tactic is, if it creates so much smoke that the judges can't see, they have to reward him.
They have to reward it, yeah. So we wait for Vascalis' score to drop in. I think he was on a 13 last time, Eddie, if I'm not mistaken.
You can see our Funk Motorsport grandstand slowly starting to fill up. Of course, all tickets for that sold out, and you can see the score dropping in for Aramis Vascalis. He needed to improve, and improve he does. A 74.3. 74.3 for Aramis Vascalis. And he jumps himself well up the order and safely inside that top 24.
Yep, and on the line, the Northern Smoke Machine, Dwayne McKeever, currently sits in 3rd position.
Which he will not be happy with.
No, he will not be happy with that. He will not like the fact that Lee Scott's come in and Grimrod has leapfrogged him. Look at this, aggression from the get-go from McKeever as he fires this RB-powered Nissan S13 in RB25, 650 horsepower from McKeever, and look at this, not lifting up the throttle whatsoever. Oh! McKeever almost tagging the wall. Look at this aggression, Eddie. McKeever not lifting at all. Oh!
And he does tag the wall this time, loses the wing. Dwayne McKeever absolutely lights up Rockingham grandstand.
Make some noise for Dwayne McKeever. Wow. That was the excitement. That's got everyone livened up a little bit.
As our head marshal Mike says, that was a run. It certainly was, Mike.
So but where does that put
was it
Dwayne
enough
McKeever?
to top qualifying? Richard Grinrod scored an 87.1. Dwayne McKeever scores, I'm guessing,
in the 90s. A 91.7. Dwayne McKeever tops qualifying so far here at round 1 of BDC. What a run from Dwayne McKeever. That is where he likes to be, Eddie. He likes to be top of the spot. We move it along to the start line. Ian Phillips
Yeah, really impressive first run from Ian Phillips. A 73 on the board for him, sees him well up the pecking order. His second run now, just look to...
Yeah, a little waiver there after initiation, just had to back out of it ever so slightly, but gets back in it. This guy driving a time bomb right now. Can this water pump on his car hold up and last all day? Ian Phillips driving this car to the absolute limit.
Yeah, just have to...
And just falls offline there, really.
Yeah, getting the line wrong and then getting caught in the middle of the circuit, and the judge is going to penalise them heavily for that.
Yeah, exactly.
But as we said, he did sit on a 73 from the first run, so he got the hard work out of the way. The second run was, a little bit of a tester lap, just trying to work on some things, and he won't be too disappointed with that as he goes back to the pits.
So we wait to see where Ian Phillips' score drops in, and we can see on the line Simon Perry eager to get going with his second qualifying run. Simon Perry scoring a 63 on his first qualifying run, so work to be done for Perry. Perry likes to be up the top, he likes to battle, and we know he's going to be feeling uncomfortable not hitting his own car in his teammate Richard McCourt's Nissan Skyline R33. So 43.3, stays in 11th, Eddie.
Yeah, look, not a bad place to be either. Mid-pack, and Ian Phillips will be happy with that. He's safe for action, and that is the main thing as we go to Simon Perry, ready to leave the line. Ooh, a stall on the line from Simon Perry.
No, he's playing games. He's playing games, definitely.
He's just playing games.
Simon Perry, the game player, the showman, and here he goes. Absolutely flat from the start line. Nice opposite flick, early initiation, but nearly falls off circuit does Simon Perry. Manages to keep into it, and you can just see him inside that car already, working hard for it, not an easy drive. Simon Perry, and a big correction for Perry. Huge amount of understeer.
Never easy going out in a borrowed car and trying to replicate what you were doing. You'd be so comfortable in his own car. His own car is such a high spec, and it is what he's accustomed to driving over the last number of years. So to come out and just try and pull this off in a borrowed car is not an easy feat. But he does sit on that 63 from his first run. Is inside that top 24 at the moment, and it is likely that we will see him compete in the battles later on. And you just never know what's going to happen in a battle.
Exactly.
A little bit of luck here and there. Can see people, and if he can just get some points on the board, he will look at it as a successful weekend based on, the bad luck he's had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we await.
So a 55.3 for Simon Perry, not improving on the first run, so he stays where he is.
And we move it along. Adam Simmons, Slide Motorsport, sits on the line for his first qualifying run. The car sprayer from Sheffield, representing Competition Clutch, Yellow Speed Racing, Trace, and Imperial Performance. And look at that, Adam Simmons lighting the tyres up already on the R33 Skyline. 2JZ, 520 horsepower under the bonnet. This guy, like we say, travelling all the way to Ireland to get this tuned. Said he feels confident as ever. Scored a 57, 54 in his first run. He's going to need work to push himself up the order, Eddie.
Yeah, he needs to finish this lap pretty much perfectly, because offline quite a bit throughout the run, and not what he would have been looking for coming out on the second run. All important run for him. Scored a 54.7 on the first attempt, and I'm not sure if that would be too much of an improvement, Ian.
Yeah, no, you know what, for me, a lot of mistakes, and a big straight coming into clipping point 6, a little waiver, shy off the wall, not looking good for Simmons, but we await his score, and just to see, does he jump up the order ever so slightly? So just waiting for the input of the scores. Our judges just discussing that one. Eddie, just talking about how they felt that one went down for Simmons.
Yeah, whether it's qualifying or a battle, the judges give their full attention and, full opinion to all their calls. They treat everything like it's a final.
So there we go, a 59.3 for Adam Simmons, puts him in 21st position. He's not safe, Eddie.
No, certainly not. That's going to be a nervous wait for him to see will he be in competition action later on. And we move it on to the owner at Team Slide Motorsport and teammate of Adam Simmons. It is Matt Stevenson. He sits on a 0, needs to put in a big run here. Lots of pressure on this one.
Yeah, Matt Stevenson's really needs to lay this down, but you know what, a little bit scrappy there. Eddie coming through clipping point 2. Looks like he's tidied it up to Stevenson.
Yeah, now hooking that line really nicely, just getting into that outer zone, which a lot of people seem to be missing, taking it out to the wall, and Stevenson finishing this one in style here.
Yeah, a few errors in the first half, but you know what, like you say, Eddie, finishing that one off, it should be enough to see him inside that top 24. And battles later on. This guy, a very, very good battle driver, likes to drive nice and close on the door, so definitely someone that we would like to see inside that top 24.
Yeah, Matt Stevenson, one of the big personalities, and there you see it, a 71 for him, jumps into 14th position. He's going to be delighted with that result, based on a 0 from the first run, all that pressure on the second one, and mid-pack, he's going to be delighted. Leonard Keppert, the next driver to leave the line, scored a 50 on the first run. What can he do this time around?
Yep, the iRock Performance driver, Westlake tyres, BMW M3 Turbo, it's 800 horsepower, and look at this, Keppert gets it all the way to the wall, starts to pick up a little bit of pace now, and he starts to make that impact what the judges are looking for, slows that car down, doesn't waver offline too much either. Now, a good transition into 7 and onto the wall. Oh, and he just slows it too much coming into 7.
Yeah, big error just at the end when he didn't need it, and that will hurt the score significantly, possibly a 0 in, because it looked as though he just gave
drifting.
up on the run, yeah. So we wait for confirmation from the judges. But it looks as though a 50 for Leonard Keppert could be as good as it gets, and after making it all this way, not how he would have wanted his weekend to go.
No, Leonard Keppert, they're going to be looking to do well, make the journey over, and scores a 58.3, so pushes himself right on the edge of the drop zone. Eddie, 24th position for Keppert.
Yeah, so at the moment he's in, but
a nervous wait, and he pushes this guy out. Jason Clark currently sits outside the top 24 now. What can Jason Clark do? Needs to put down the run of his life right now to stay inside that top 22. Fires that LS-powered Mazda RX-7 in, and look at that from Jason Clark, all the way to the wall from Jason Clark, the Slide Motorsport fabricator, putting everything on the line for a place inside top 24. This is tidy from Clark, Eddie.
This is really, really good from Clark, and can he keep it going? Just 2 more clips to go, and I'd say he's just sitting in there and just egging himself on. He will be feeling pumped after this one. Takes it to the wall and safely across the line. Wow, what a run from Jason Clark.
Do you know what? It started so, plain. There was no excitement to the initiation, and then all of a sudden it was like Clark switched it on. Yeah, it was like,
just builds,
I need to build it.
Yeah. So Jason Clark, will he get himself into the top 10? Will he get himself into that top 24?
And he does, look at that, an
Wow.
81.3 for Jason Clark. Judges rewarding that risk with the wall runs. Wow.
Really impressive stuff from Jason Clark as we move it on to Oliver Evans. He sits on a 74 from his first run.
And a big angle initiation from Oliver Evans. Look at this, firing in through clipping point 2 now. Going to have to wash all the way to the wall when he does. Nice fast full throttle transition from Evans. Back in it nice and early. Takes it all the way to the wall again in front of that Funk Motorsport grandstand. Looking good from Oliver Evans. Nice and tidy, doesn't fall off track at all, takes it all the way to the wall again. Evans absolutely smashing this run there, Eddie. This is flawless grandstand. Give it up for Oliver Evans. What a run.
Yeah, that's why Oliver Evans has a name in drifting. Really impressive stuff from him as he just nailed the circuit all the way around. The judges will be really impressed with that one, and I can expect this score to go high. Will it be enough to top the score of Dwayne McKeever? I'm not so sure, but I wouldn't rule it out, Ian.
Exactly, yeah, you know what, we've seen lots of different things happen in the past. Can Oliver Evans top qualifying, or does Dwayne McKeever remain first place qualifier? At the moment, Oliver Evans can't do it. He drops into 4th position with an 85. An 85 for Oliver Evans. But you know, it sees him inside that top 10, Eddie. That's a good place for Evans to be going into the championship.
Yeah, that'll give him, you know, a good bracket to be in, and hopefully for him, a relatively easier route to the final.
Exactly. Someone looking to get inside that top 10 is Martin Richards. Tags the cone on initiation, Eddie, and full throttle from Richards.
Yeah, absolutely obliterates that first clipping zone and keeping the rest of this run going in a similar fashion as he takes it out to the wall. And look at that for car control, just dropping a wheel, but a lot of drivers struggling to keep the car within the confines of the circuit at that very particular point.
Whoa,
losing the rear bumper off the wall as he takes it to the final wall zone. Guys, put your hands together for Martin Richards. And he would like nothing more than to take home the championship win this season. And it all starts here at the first round in Rockingham Motor Speedway. Can he get off to a good start? Can he top qualifying? Can he take home a round 1 win? It all remains to be seen. Where's he going to drop in? 6th position is all Martin Richards can muster up at the moment with a 79. So 79, only enough for 6th position so far.
So things heating up here at Rockingham Motor Speedway. On the line, Brett Perry. Brett Perry, the son of Simon Perry. Look at this aggression. Brett Perry knows what he needs to do to get inside that top 10, and he fires at that R33 Skyline in. Nice angle, good commitment. Takes it all the way to the wall with a nice fast transition. Just a little waver there ever so slightly, but all the way out. And you can just see that car running out of gears, and it just not got the pace.
Not many drivers get in as deep though into that outer zone as Brett Perry did on that occasion. Tags the wall as he comes through the teardrop section. Now just 2 clips to go. Takes it to the wall again as he bashes the limiter. Hand out the window as he crosses the line, giving himself a little pat in the head. And Brett Perry takes it back to the pits. So Brett Perry was on a 71. Will he improve on that? Certainly was safe inside that top 24, Ian, but you know, these guys aren't satisfied or happy with safe. They want to.
No, exactly. They want to be up there inside that top 10.
They want to push themselves. They want to put on a show for the fans. You can just see the score drops in. Very consistent runs for Brett Perry as he scores a 74.7, 10th position for him.
So 10th position there for Brett Perry. Someone sitting on a 0 outside of that top 24 is this guy, Dean Barber, the 30-year-old mechanic from Milton Keynes, has everything to do. He says he's addicted to drifting. What can he do? 488 horsepower, SR20 under the bonnet. Dean Barber now, everything counts on this run. Good line through the first clipping point. Nice and tidy through 2, off the wall a little bit early, but gets the transition, full throttle. Big clutch kick as he now takes it all the way out. Just shy of that wall, but Dean Barber carrying too much speed as he comes into 5.5, Eddie.
Yeah, really starting to fall apart for Dean, missing some clips and then sliding offline, dropping some wheels, and yeah, I mean, look, getting the last 2 clips, but there's not a whole lot that's going to be able to do in terms of building up his score again. Far too many errors for him, and not what he would have wanted. A lot of pressure, of course, having scored a 0 on his first run, really had it all to do, and it's been quite a high standard for the guys in the top 24. Gets a 52.3, only enough for 29th position, unfortunately for him, outside that top 24.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dean Barber, yeah, just work to be done, you know, and a little bit more seat time in that car before he returns to round 2. We move it along to the next driver, who will be Lee Barker, the nightclub bouncer and hydraulic engineer from Slough. Lee Barker currently sitting with a 24, so Lee Barker, all the work to do right now. Lee Barker, a lot of pressure on his shoulders to get inside that top 24. What can he do, Eddie, as he fires his car sideways to the wall? And you know what, a much better run from Barker, but I'm not setting the scoreboard alight right now, Eddie.
No, certainly not. Just again, it comes down to the pressure that these guys feel, having not performed on the first run and then having it all to do. From your own experience, Ian, you've sat there before. What's it like for these drivers? It's such a short amount of time that they have to try and, you know, get the car working right and get themselves into a position where they can qualify.
Yeah, you know what, with one run to do it all in, there's a lot of pressure, and sometimes that can just play on your mind constantly as soon as you initiate, and then you kind of try and think about not what you've got to do and just how you do it, but it doesn't always play out and you overthink the situation. I think that's what happened there for Lee Barker and Dean Barber. Both those guys just overthinking the situation, and we've seen them drive a lot better than that in practice earlier on, so a lot of work to be done for those guys heading away for this round. And there we go, a 50. Lee Barker does improve in his first run, but not enough to qualify inside that top 24, so that is the end of the weekend. Another guy sitting on a 0.
Christian Christensen. Now this car is de-stroked to 5.4 litres.
Yeah, I mean, that's not very often you hear that. And this little MX-5 has 1,000 horsepower under the bonnet. A tentative entry from Christian Christensen, completely missing. And you know what? There's problems with that car.
Yeah,
really.
massive problems with the car. It just doesn't look like it wants to go on angle.
Such a shame. Made the journey all the way over from Denmark. Said that he's going to contend a whole season in the British Drift Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a warm round of applause as he crosses the line. Christian Christensen all the way from Denmark, having car issues and not being able to make the grade today.
Yeah, I think they're going to just have to go back to the drawing board with that. Just take a look at it and see if they can just sort out some of the gremlins and the issues that they're having there. But it certainly just didn't look like a car that was running properly, and unfortunately for Christensen, not getting to see exactly what he's capable of here this weekend. So we hope that he can get all that sorted and come back for round 2 stronger and put on a show for us, and maybe, you know, take down some of these BDC guys. And yeah, you can see score coming in at 30.7, 34th position for him, and that will be the end of his weekend here. So we got to move it on. Paul Smith, the next driver to take to the circuit. He's on a 72.7 from his first run. He's a fresh produce importer, and he's represented Jap Speed and Maxxis Tyres. So 1.5 JZ under the bonnet, 650 brake horsepower, GT86, and he just slings it at walls here in Rockingham for your entertainment.
Yeah, no regard to the back end of that Toyota GT86, like you say, and absolutely hammering is Paul Smokey Smith right now. This guy eager for a win. Look at this, all the way to the wall on clipping point 6. Now, can he run the wall again on exit and pick up as many points as he can? He does. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Paul Smokey Smith.
Yeah, Paul Smith doing a good job, and he looks very consistent, which is so important in drifting. Consistency often wins out over everything else, and that is what you want over a championship. It can make all the difference. Can Paul Smith, though, take a championship win back to Team Jap Speed? Could they go 2 in a row? He goes into 7th position, jumping that score up to a 78.7. And we talk about consistency, 2 scores in the 70s. That's exactly what he'll be wanting to see after qualifying in the first round back. So we've got to move it on. Mike Walton scored a 57. Wowed us in the borrowed car.
Yeah, wowed us in his little practice day car. Yeah, throwing it in now, breaking the diff in his S13. So Mike Walton now taking a nice leisurely drive around our Rockingham circuit right now. But you know what, Eddie, doing a very, very good job. And this technical run could be enough to score Mike Walton enough points to qualify inside that top 24. And not a bad run there for Mike Walton. Gets himself across the line. Not sure if it's going to be a better run than a 57.3. But we await to find out how the judges score that one.
So just looking down the order here, just obviously, you know, a few drivers still to go. Second score comes in for Mike Walton and 58 or 58.3, yeah, a 25th position, just missing out on one of those top 24 spots. And a number of drivers still to go. One of those being Martin Wanacott, who sits outside the top 24, 44.3 for him, and needs to pull something out of the bag here.
Yeah, exactly. We see this guy absolutely pedal the wheels off this car in practice. Not sure what's happened right now, and he completely misses clipping point 2. Martin Wanacott not laying it all on the line like we expected to see.
Yeah, certainly looks fast though, and
he's starting to tidy up, and he nice wall
really
run
is,
there.
yeah, it's starting to come together for him. Could it be little too late though? This looking good as he crosses the line, taking it nicely out to the wall, and you know what, as we said, wasn't great at the start, but really picked up momentum as it went, and the judges might reward that. Could we see him scrape into that top 24?
So we await to find out. Can Martin Wanacott do enough to get inside top 24?
Was sitting on a 44.3, jumps into 10th position with a 75, 75 from Martin Wanacott. What about that, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, that is the kind of Martin Wanacott that we're used to seeing. You know, a few little pointers here and there to clean that run up, but apart from that, perfect. Off the line, Matthew Denham, that LS turbo-powered RX-8. This guy is a showman, likes to put on a show, and always does well. And look at this, Eddie, a nice line coming into the wall, stands on the accelerator and starts producing big smoke from that Maxxis tyres. Japs feature sponsored driver, big clutch kick again from Matt Denham.
Yeah, I think Matt Denham could be a dark horse for the championship this year. Once he gets into his element, he is a hard man to beat. Wow, Maxxis tyres, smokescreen, nailing the clipping points. Jap speed on the door, takes it across the line. Grandstand makes some noise for Matt Denham. 62 on the first run.
That's way up there. I'm just putting it out there, that's way up there now.
I'm thinking that one's a little bit better.
That's way up there, that's going to push him way up the order. He wants to see himself inside that
50 now.
A top 10. Can Matt Denham get inside that top 10, or even better than that, get inside that top 5? The judges' scores come in. And he can. A 79 puts him in 6th position. Matthew Denham gets 6th position with a 79. Gets himself inside that top 10 where he wants to be. Nathan Chivers on the line. Nathan Chivers currently sits with an 18.3. All the work to do right now from the garage owner at GDA Sports Cars in Tunbridge Wells in Kent. What can he do? Nathan Chivers, 660 horsepower. Another one is supercharged LS2. Finds the accelerator this time, Eddie, and starts to stand on it.
Yeah, finds the accelerator and finds the wall. Can he stay on the line here? Just ever so slightly missing that forward outer clipping zone, but gets it back in there. Drops a wheel. The errors now is just starting to build and just not getting it right in the midline through the circuit. And what started so good just becomes very poor towards the end, and unfortunately for Nathan Chivers, not what he would have wanted on his second run. And okay, that started out so good, but fell apart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the initiation and the aggression he showed through the first turn and through clipping point 2 was absolutely perfect. But then, yeah, like you say, Eddie, the transition onto the wall and just the line he took, just, you know, bled points, and that's going to hurt his score. Is it enough to get into top 24? It's not. He ends up in 33rd position with a 49. So that is the end of the weekend there for Nathan Chivers. We move it along. Danny Grundy. Danny Grundy currently sits on a 40. So Grundy with work to do, Eddie.
Yes. And of course, not in the car that he was hoping to use this weekend, and really up against it here. You can see Adam Simmons in 24th position.
Yeah, on that drop zone.
On that drop zone. So he sits on a 54.7, if I'm not mistaken, which means he's also tied with Cartilage. So that means that you need a 54.7 if you want to progress into that top 24.
Yeah, so, you know, you want to be scoring a 60 or higher to make sure you're definitely securing yourself a place in that top 24. Danny Grundy, though, Eddie, arm out the window, runs the wall. Give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A borrowed car. A round of applause for Philip Hayden to lend his car out to Danny Grundy. Not easy to hand the keys over to your pride and joy.
No, certainly not. But we know we've spoken earlier on about technically correct, and that looked, especially towards the end, to be a very, very good run. Will it break into the 60s? Get himself safe for battle action? We await to see the judges make that decision. Oh, 52.7 for Danny Grundy, just lacking that impact that the judges were looking for in the style, and unfortunately that sees him down in 30th position now. A man who's looking to make a name for himself, Kevin Quinn, he sits on a 71.3. Can we see him contend for a top spot? Big speed, big angle.
Big aggression. Look at this from Kevin Quinn. He's coming to prove a point this year. All the way to the wall in that Quinn's Coachwork 180 SX. JZ 700 horsepower. Listen to Kevin Quinn pedal this car.
Can the owner at Quinn Motorsport take it to the top of qualifying? Impressive stuff from the young gun so far, as he puts the foot down and sends up the smoke screen as he crosses the line, absolutely shredding those Westlake tires in. And do you know what? This is only the start of what we've seen from Kevin Quinn. I think this guy is a future talent. There's just something that he's missing, maybe that final 10 or 15%, and I think when he gets it, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? He lacked his seat time before, and once you find him at the end of a year, a whole season under his belt, this guy is an unbelievable driver. So big things happen for Kevin Quinn this year. Where does he land in qualifying? He was on a 71.3 with his first qualifying run. And where does Kevin Quinn end up after that? run in 5th position with an 82. Kevin Quinn jumps into 5th position with an 82. He'll be over the moon with that. We move it along. Peter Hayden on the line. Peter Hayden currently sitting with a 57, so finds himself
outside that top 24.
Yeah, outside top 24. Looking to do some damage in this brand new supercharged 4-litre V8. The Nissan Laurel fires it in, Eddie, on a nice wide line now. Needs to really pedal this to try and get it to work. You can see it's not an easy car to drive. This doesn't look like it's a walk in the park for Peter Hayden.
No, this car was built the year that I was born, which is unfortunately a very long time ago, and probably not the easiest car to negotiate around this circuit, but he seems to be doing an okay job of it, getting into those outer zones. Just see him fight the steering as he gets it across the line. Will it be enough for Peter Hayden to just edge inside that top 24?
Just looks like it was lacking that impact that the judges are now rewarding big points for. You know, that impact making up a lot, the style, you know, making up a lot of them points. So where does it end up? 63 and a 22nd position. So he's inside that top 24.
And you know what? By the looks of things, safe for battle action. The remaining drivers.
Exactly, but we move it along. Scott Cartledge, big clutch kick initiation from your 2017 Pro-Am champion. Scott Cartledge fires in this 1UZ 4-litre V8 turbo R33 Nissan Skyline. One of the nicest guys on the grid, so understated, almost runs the wall, the back end. Look at this from Cartledge.
Yeah, drops a few wheels offline though, but keeps the power down and keeps the run going. This very fast, snappy transition through the midsection, but just costs him a bit of his line. And yeah, good run, but again, another few mistakes creeping in. Cartledge, 59.3 on the first run. He would have been hoping to improve that, but again, with those few errors, you kind of have to wonder, was there enough there to break into the 60s?
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Yeah, like you say, Eddie, just them few errors coming into the wall. The transition from clipping point 7 heading towards 8, he kind of just wavered a little bit. I don't know if it was the smoke blocking his view of where clipping point 8 was on the wall. I'm not sure, but fingers crossed for Cartledge. Can Cartledge continue his reign and prove his worth in this pro class? Oh, wow, and he can. Just about 63, drops him into 22nd position. So that's going to have jiggled the order about ever so slightly. Things looking good. Up next on the line, our 2017 Pro champion, Matt Carter. Max's tyres, Team Japspeed fires that 1JZ powered.
Yeah, Carter looking to build on that 77 that he scored on his first run. He won't be happy with being beaten to top spot and qualifying, and a number of drivers crossed the pond to try and take his title and championship away from him, but look at this, all getting a little bit out of shape for the Maxis Japspeed driver, but he keeps the shoe in and gets it back online and throws it towards the wall, all for your entertainment, across the line. Guys, give it up for Matt Carter.
Yeah, just, you know what, Eddie, just that washing very, very wide coming into clipping point 5.5, dropping wheels. It's going to hurt his score. Like you say, sitting on a 77 before. Can he better that? Judges talking about this one in quite detail.
Yeah, I'm not so sure with dropping wheels that it'll be an improvement. Stays where he is in 10th position with a 77, 61 on the board. And you know what? With Matt Carter in 10th position, it means a very difficult battle for somebody.
Yeah, exactly. We move it along. Sultan Al Qasimi all the way from the UAE in that Monster Energy Toyota Corolla SR20 power. First qualifying run was absolutely flying, a 73.7. What can Sultan
gets a little
do?
bit away from there, Ian, as he drops a wheel on entry, but gets it back now and looking so comfortable in this chassis. As you mentioned, the guys in Group D changing this to a left-hand drive for Sultan. As he says, the right side of the car to be driving on. We say the wrong side, but look at this.
Yeah, Sultan Al Qasimi doing an absolutely sterling job there of that qualifying run.
And he looks like a brand new driver behind the wheel of this car.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like he's been in it for a very long time. So we're about to find out, does Sultan Al Qasimi change position or does he stay where he is?
Of course, fresh from a championship win and all of the confidence that comes with that.
Exactly.
In the Emirati Drift Championship.
Good information there, really. A wealth of knowledge is what you are.
A fountain.
No, that's Nathan. Nathan's the fountain
is
of knowledge.
Is he the fountain of knowledge? All right.
She's been here 2 days now.
2 days, wow.
Yeah. He said he knows everything about drifting. He's completed it.
He's completed it. He does seem to talk an infinite deal of nothing, though. Now, Sultan Al Qasimi does not improve on his first run. Stays where he is in 16th position, but you know what? I think he's going to be a tough competitor in the battle stages. Looking very comfortable out there. Seems to have that line dialed in. As we see the first of our Pro-Am drivers take to the circuit for his second run, Dan Tyler.
Yeah, Dan Tyler.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't perform on the first run outside the top 24, I do believe. Open to correction on that one, but look at this, fires it towards the wall. What about this for a run from Dan Tyler?
Oh,
just keeps the car on the circuit.
Dan Tyler literally hanging that car out. He's giving it everything he can do right now. Dan Tyler working very, very hard to try and gain a spot, almost running the wall. And you know what? Fair play, Eddie. That is not an easy car to drive.
No, and that was a real on-the-limit run there from Dan Tyler, trying to just scrape every last ounce of line, power, angle out of that car, and just just about managed to keep it going. So we wait for a score for Dan Tyler. Does he get himself into the top 24? Will we see him have the dream weekend continue? Jumps 32nd position and a 52, and again just not bringing that impact, and the weekend and the dream will end for him there. But you know what? 4th place finisher, not a bad start to the 2018 season for Pro-Am Championship for him. We move it on to our 3rd place finisher in the Pro-Am Championship round 1, Alistair Sutton. He's on a 72 from his first run, sitting in 18th position, so well inside the top 24. He is safe. This is just bonus time for him.
Oh, I mean, unbelievable drive so far from Alistair. So look at that, taking down the cones on initiation, getting wild right now is Alistair Sutton with a point to prove all the way to the wall in this little 2.8 BMW E36. Firing it again to the wall, Eddie. Alistair Sutton absolutely hanging it all out there for everyone to see. Slows it down absolutely perfectly as he takes it to clipping point 6. And again, this is such a technically good run from Alistair Sutton. Just goes to show you the potential that this young man has. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Alistair Sutton.
Yeah, phenomenal run there. Very technically correct, and I think that will score well up there. Very similar possibly to his first run, a 72 that he got on that one. Can he improve? Can he bump himself up a little bit further? Again, just not bringing the impact, but technically almost perfect. Add a couple of 100 horsepower to that car, and that guy's going to be, a real
dangerous
contender.
Yeah. Dangerous to our Pro-Am and Pro Grid. Yeah, look at that. Alistair Sutton stays where he is in 18th position. He is going to be over the moon with that he's even qualified in this Pro Grid. We move it along to our next driver on the line. It is Christian Burkhoff's, currently sitting in 20th position.
Yes, 67.7 for him on the first run, and just missing out on top spot here this morning. Sliding off track and handing the victory over to Lee Scott, but 2nd place in the Pro-Am standings going into round 2. Won't be a bad feeling leaving the circuit this weekend. Can he improve on this first score? Just not taking as wide a line as he's like, starting to miss a few clips and not looking like the driver that we saw earlier on in.
No, exactly. You know what, for me it was the wall run on clipping point 4, just come away from it a little bit too early. It kind of affected his line, so not gonna better his score, I don't think, Eddie, if I'm brutally honest with you.
And then there was one, Lee Scott scored an 87.3 on his first run. We just await the official second score for Christian Burkhoff's, but yeah, Lee Scott, what a start to the season it's been for him. He came out on his first lap and sent it right to the top of qualifying. He's bumped down the order a little bit now, but he will be looking to try and bump himself into the 90s. Scored in the 90s yesterday and scored higher than what Dwayne McKeever has put on the scoreboard this morning as well. Scores are in for Burkhoff's, a 56, no improvement on the first run. He stays in 20th position, but we will see him, importantly, for battle action with the pros later on. Scott leaves the line in.
2nd position so far in qualifying. Can he beat McKeever with a 91? We're about to find out. 1st place winner, Lee Scott. Look at this, Lee Scott all the way out to the edge of the circuit, absolutely hammering the rev limit on the RB25 E46. Big clutch kick on transition. Listen to him pedaling that car.
Takes it right to the wall. Lee Scott is a man on a mission. Can he break into the 90s here? Oh, drops a couple of wheels.
Starts to drop wheels, Eddie, but he
But
gets back
keeps
in
the
it.
shoe in, tags the wall.
A big wall run from Lee Scott. Keeps that car absolutely balanced as he runs the wall again. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lee Scott. Wow. That's a man on a mission right there, Eddie.
Yeah, that was a phenomenal run from the young Lee Scott. And if ever there was a run that could compete with the top qualifying score run of Dwayne McKeever, a 91.7 to beat. Lee Scott, where's he going to land? Ooh, judges
not favouring that run. He stays in second position.
He stays in second position. But you know what? For a Pro-Am driver who's just taken home a Pro-Am win at round 1, I think he's going to be happy with that. Second in Pro qualifying. Very...
Yeah, so there we go. Qualifying done and dusted, Eddie, and that is it. We do have our top 24. All our drivers are there. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to go for our system, and we invite everybody here at Rockingham Motor Speedway, Eddie, down onto the circuit. We're going to bring all of our drivers out from Pro qualifying. Those guys are going to be lined up out on circuit. You guys can get over there, meet the drivers, shake their hands, take a look around these amazing machines that they've prepared for you this weekend. And so, yeah, so your entry to the circuit, ladies and gentlemen, is at the start line. So you need to make your way through the pits to the start line, and you can follow those guys out on circuit where you see the Monster Energy truck just about to lead all those guys out. So for me and Eddie, we'll be back later on with the action. Keep your eye on our Facebook page for times that we will be back online. And we're going to your mate, Eddie.
Oh no, not this guy again.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan is about somewhere, I do believe. No, he doesn't want to do it. Apparently, it's too cold or something. He hasn't had makeup yet, so
yeah.
We're gonna leave Nathan alone for a little bit. And
some keyboard warrior online said something that's upset him.
Yeah, he's got a tear in his eye.
Yeah.
So
as you can see, those guys are getting ready to go out on track for the meet and greet, and it's a perfect opportunity for you guys to go and talk to them about their builds, about the cars, and what it is they do to make it here, to put on a show for you guys in attendance. Get some autographs, of course, as well, if that's your thing.
Yeah, and we will be back in 10 minutes' time with Nathan with a track walk. He's going to be over there getting the microphone in the drivers' faces, finding out how their qualifying session went, and just getting a general feel of how this weekend's going. So for me and Eddie, we'll catch you back soon with all the action here live at round 1 of British Championship Pro Day 2018.
So we are down here live. This is a really nice part of the show. Obviously the qualifiers have gone underway. I have no idea who came first. I was having a double cheeseburger with onions down at the bottom. I wasn't paying attention. However, apparently it was someone very drifty and very fast. Things are certainly getting exciting here at the BDC at Rockingham Motor Speedway. And this is a really nice part of the show where the people get to come down and meet their driving heroes. I met my hero once, Shane Lynch. Didn't go very well, but that's a story for another day. You can see we've got the monster guys down here as well. Now the guys have asked that I keep a 10-meter distance from the ladies. Apparently it's not appropriate to ask the monster girls if they're single while they're working. I apologize. All kinds of amazing things are going on here today. The keyboard warriors are out online. The real fans are here in person. There's some really, really exciting stuff going on. And if you're not here, then you should be. We've got 4 more stops here at the BDC. Get your tickets online and be here live like me and enjoy the fun for yourself. We've got all the guys here. We've got Mr. Ben Manuel, who's supposed to be my co-host, but he has nothing to do, and so he's doing no work. Sounds about right. Let's start a campaign of Fire Ben Manuel immediately. I believe we're going to take it back up. We've got the main man's up top. Out of the way, Ben Maxwell. Taking it back up to Mr. Edward No Power, who's not there because he's away thinking about his life. Back to you guys.